My child, stop what you're doing. This is your final call. I'm not speaking in riddles. I'm not waiting for your convenience. I'm stepping into this very moment with a word that will mark you forever. What I have to say must be heard now, not later, because what's coming for you tonight isn't just a shift. It's a divine collision. Every delay you've wrestled with, every door that stayed shut, every prayer that echoed in silence, I'm aggressing all of it here. So don't scroll. Don't blink. Don't dare walk away from what I'm about to unleash. Watch until the final breath of this message, because your spirit will recognize what your mind can't yet grasp. The next 5 minutes could change your next 5 years. You'll remember this night, and what you do with it, for the rest of your life. My beloved child, lean in closer. Tonight, I come not with riddles, not with veiled signs or cryptic impressions. No, tonight I come with divine precision, with a voice that will not be mistaken, with clarity wrapped in love that has waited too long to be spoken. You must understand, this is not another ordinary night passing by on a calendar. This is not a moment to scroll past or tuck away for later. I am not speaking symbolically. I am not using allegory or suggestion. I am coming to you directly. My tone is urgent, not to frighten you, but to awaken you. I have waited through years of silence, seasons of pruning, nights of unanswered prayers, just to arrive here, right now, with this final call. You see, everything that has happened up to this point has been leading you here. Every disappointment, every delay, every divine not yet has been preparation for the exact hour you now stand in. Heaven has turned its face toward you, and I am issuing something that cannot be postponed, the final call before divine release. This is the moment creation has been groaning for, when my whisper in your wilderness becomes a shout that shakes everything around you. I need you to feel the weight of this moment, not as a burden, but as a holy summons. For what I'm about to release cannot be carried casually. It cannot be handled with distracted hands or a half-committed heart. I'm calling you to attention, not out of anger, but out of immeasurable love. My child, do you not see? The heavens are leaning in. The scrolls are opening. Your name, etched with glory, has reached the throne of divine activation. This isn't a metaphor. This is movement. And I needed your heart to be still enough to receive it. All that you've endured was not in vain. It was sacred conditioning for this unveiling. The hour is pregnant with my power, and I am calling you to midwife this moment into manifestation. I have held this release in my hands for what felt like forever to you, but I couldn't deliver it until your spirit was ready to steward it. And now, I say with full authority, you are ready. Ready not because you're perfect, but because you stayed. Because you didn't abandon the altar when the fire seemed to go out. Because you whispered your faith in the dark when no one applauded. So hear me, beloved. Tonight is unlike any other night. Not in symbolism. In reality. This is your final call before I release what eyes have not seen, ears have not heard, and hearts have not dared to imagine. I am no longer speaking in hints. I am declaring with finality, it's coming for you tonight. The air around you has changed, even if your senses have not yet caught up to the shift. What once felt stagnant now trembles with divine intention. The spiritual atmosphere is saturated, soaked with the sound of my command, laced with the wind of my word. Something ancient and sacred is on the move. While the world sleeps in routine, heaven is erupting in response to a single, unstoppable truth. The whisper I released, the one I sealed with fire and signed with my name, is no longer waiting. It is descending now, breaking the boundaries of delay and slicing through layers of resistance that tried to make you believe your time would never come. This moment isn't coming with a parade of signs or flashing signals. No, it arrives in holy stillness, with the same stealth as a seed cracking beneath the soil before it springs into bloom. What you prayed for in whispers, I answered with thunder. What you barely dared to hope for, I shaped with sovereign hands behind the veil of silence. And now that whisper is becoming reality. Not for another, not for the crowd, not for the louder voices or the celebrated names. It's coming for you. You've spent too long believing you were the afterthought, the one overlooked while others were lifted. But I say to you now, with unshakable certainty, this descent from heaven bears your name in bold, burning letters. I didn't just assign your portion. I authored it. I didn't copy and paste someone else's blessing into your life. I composed a divine release with your spiritual DNA embedded in its design. This blessing knows your heartbeat. It's been shaped to meet you exactly where your wounds were deepest and your strength was thinnest. And even now, as I speak, angels are moving like lightning through realms unseen, responding to the shift I initiated for you. Don't look around and wonder if it's meant for someone else. Don't disqualify yourself because your hands still tremble or your faith has grown weary. This isn't about how strong you feel. It's about how much I've declared. I saw your endurance. I saw you praise me with cracked lips and tired limbs. I saw you smile through storms and believe through breakdowns. And that's why I whispered your name into eternity. And eternity is now echoing back with manifestation. Let me be even clearer, beloved. This isn't general favor floating freely. This is for fulfillment falling factor. This is the kind of shift that cannot be fabricated or faked. This is holy acceleration, divine reversal, and supernatural alignment merging into one prophetic collision. Do you feel it yet? The tension in your chest, the pause between heartbeats. That's not fear, that's recognition. Your spirit is beginning to understand what your mind hasn't caught up to. The delivery has left the throne, and it will not return void. I am not asking you to chase it. I am commanding you to receive it. Stand in position, not in panic but in peace. Let the trembling be turned into awe. Let your doubt be overtaken by the sound of my assurance. I am the one who sets the atmosphere, and I've already changed it for your favor. You may not see it with your eyes yet, but heaven has already shifted, and the glory you've waited for is on its way, targeted, timed, and unstoppable. And before we move on, let me whisper one more truth into the cracks of your soul. Stop comparing your process to others. You've looked at their miracles and wondered if I skipped you. But I never skip. I was scripting. I wasn't ignoring. I was incubating something so weighty, so holy, that it required silence to mature. And now, finally now, the silence is breaking, the sky is opening, and the very atmosphere that once mocked your delay is now bending to carry your miracle. I told the winds where to blow. I gave orders to the elements, and everything is obeying. You were not forgotten. You were being preserved. You were not abandoned. You were being aligned. So hear this and hear it well. What I whispered has now begun to descend, and it's not coming to visit others first. It's coming for you. That unrest you've been wrestling with, the ache in your chest that lingered without a name, the sense that something unseen is looming, it wasn't random. It wasn't emotional. It wasn't psychological. It was prophetic. That weight you've carried today like a cloak over your soul was not confusion. It was confirmation. You've been sensing what your spirit already knew. The divine delivery is not coming, it's near. And nearer than breath. Closer than the next heartbeat. It's already brushing against the fabric of your tomorrow, asking permission to break into your now. a heaviness. That stillness you felt when the world seemed too loud but your heart grew strangely quiet. That was me. That was me shifting the heavens and allowing your soul to feel the tremor before the triumph. You weren't being dramatic. You were being awakened. And tonight, I need you to understand what your body couldn't articulate. Your spirit has already heard the sound of change approaching like thunder wrapped in glory. You see, child, your soul is more spiritually sensitive than you realize. While others are numbed by noise, you've stayed tender. You've stayed watchful. That's why you felt it before it arrived. Like the ground sensing the approach of rain long before the sky splits open, your spirit has been trembling beneath the weight of what is rushing in. I've trained you for this. I've whispered to you through countless midnights so that when the real moment came, you wouldn't miss the vibration of my footsteps drawing near. What you're feeling isn't pressure to perform. It's permission to receive. That strange tension in your chest is the stretching of your spiritual womb, making room for what I've planted in secret to finally come to full term. You've been carrying promise like prophecy wrapped in silence. And now, the silence is starting to contract. And just like that, the restlessness becomes revelation. Let me speak this plainly to you. You are not crazy. You are not being overly emotional. You are not overthinking. You are spiritually aware. And tonight, your internal compass is screaming because it knows the coordinates of your next calling are being written as we speak. Even your fatigue hath been prophetic. Even your tears were anticipatory. Your body doesn't know how to explain it, but your soul knows that something monumental is crossing dimensions to reach you. That's why joy and sorrow have been dancing inside you today. That's why laughter has felt too small and silence too loud. Because the moment is too big to fit into your usual responses. Don't dismiss this as spiritual noise. It's a sacred announcement. Your spirit is not confused. It's been activated. And now, what was once invisible is about to become undeniable. So when the weight presses again, don't panic. Word him. When the restlessness returns, don't run. Return to me. I've allowed your spirit to sense the arrival because I trust you not to miss it. And while the world sleeps, I'm speaking directly to you. Can you feel it now? The edge of something eternal brushing against the routine of your day. The atmosphere is leaning in. The timeline is trembling. And the reason you can't rest, the reason you've been unable to settle, is because your spirit heard the knock of heaven before your ears ever could. I'm coming with fulfillment, with favor, with fire, and your spirit is already standing at the door. You've been stretched, stirred, and summoned because the delivery is imminent. And tonight, you will see what your spirit has been hearing all along. Let me correct the lie the enemy has been whispering to your weary heart. What you are feeling right now, this stirring, this divine tension in your chest, is not anxiety, it's awakening. It's not chaos, it's calibration. I have not come to unsettle you, I've come to align you. That internal race you've mistaken for panic is actually purpose beginning to pulse. I've been waking your heart, gently at first, then more fiercely, not to burden you but to build you. I needed you to feel this urgency not as fear, but as a signal. A sacred summons. A holy alert from the depths of my spirit to the deepest part of yours. You see, what's coming isn't ordinary. And so your preparation can't be casual. I had to shake you from routine. I had to stir the still waters of your soul. Because when the sacred begins to approach, everything in you must rise to meet it. And make no mistake, something sacred is indeed approaching. Faster than the doubt that tried to settle in your bones. Faster than the fear that lurked beneath your questions. Heaven's movement is not on delay, it's in divine acceleration. What I ordained for this moment has already broken past the resistance, already pushed through the barriers that once blocked your view. I am not coming quietly. I'm coming suddenly. Like lightning that splits the sky without warning, like thunder that silences all other sound, my purpose is storming toward your life with intention. And because of that, I had to stir you before it arrived. You couldn't be asleep when destiny came knocking. You couldn't be buried in numbness when my glory stepped into the room. So yes, I allowed the unease. Yes, I permitted the pressure. But not to harm you, to position you. Listen, child. Preparation is not always peaceful. Sometimes it feels like pulling apart, like stretching skin, like holy tension in places you didn't know were still bound. And I allowed this holy pressure not to crush you but to carve space. Space for what's coming. Space for the sacred weight I'm about to lay upon your life. The anointing I'm pouring out is not lightweight. It's weighty with glory. And only a prepared vessel can carry it without breaking. That's why your emotions have felt like shifting sand. That's why your routine has lost its flavor and your comfort zones no longer hold you. I am expanding you, deepening you, waking you up from the slumber of survival so you can step into the strategy of significance. You were never created for comfort. You were crafted for calling. And calling requires readiness. So breathe, beloved. Don't retreat from the urgency. Don't rebuke it like an intruder. Embrace it as a herald, a divine announcement that your name is being called in realms you cannot yet see. When the sacred approaches, the soul bets loud. And that noise inside you is not your failure, it's your formation. Let it drive you to stillness, not striving. Let it pull you closer, not farther. I'm not calling you to panic. I'm calling you to posture, to readiness, to alertness. Because what I've prepared is holy, and it's coming faster than you think. You won't need to chase it, but you will need to be ready to receive it. So lean in, breathe deep, and let the urgency awaken every dormant place inside you. I've been waking your heart, not to scare you but to seat you at the edge of divine delivery. This is not a rehearsal. This is not a prophetic impression waiting for a future day. This is the moment when the divine steps into the now. I am not delegating this assignment to angels. I am not dispatching intermediaries. I am not waiting for the sun to rise or for the conditions to feel perfect. I'm moving myself. Not later. Not tomorrow. Now. Tonight. The King is not coming with delay. The Father is not distant. I am stepping into your timeline with unfiltered force and unparalleled love. I am interrupting your evening with my presence, because this moment was written into the script of your life long before your breath-filled lungs. I mark this night as holy, sacred, set apart, and I refuse to allow anything, not fear, not fatigue, not familiarity, to make you miss what I am releasing now. This is a God move, not a good idea. This is heaven's author stepping into the story he wrote, not as a passive reader but as the active revealer. I'm not waiting for you to tidy up the room of your heart. I'm not hesitating until your faith feels flawless. I'm moving because your heart, even in its trembling, is turned toward me. I've heard the whispers you muttered into your pillow. I've seen the prayers you never wrote down. I've counted the nights you laid in silence, wondering if I still remembered what I promised. And now, with all the urgency of a father who's waited too long to hold his child, I am moving toward you. My footsteps are not symbolic. They are soundless in the natural but thunderous in the spirit. You may not hear them with your ears, but your spirit already knows. I am here. And listen to me now. When I move personally, I move powerfully. When I step in, I don't come to comfort only, I come to conquer. To overthrow every lie that has wrapped itself around your identity. To tear down every stronghold built from years of silent suffering. To silence every voice that dared to say I forgot you. My presence is not visiting. My presence is inhabiting. I have chosen this night to begin what no man can reverse. When I move myself, doors don't just open, they shatter. Chains don't just loosen, they disintegrate. I'm not coming with fragments. I'm bringing fullness. The fullness of joy. The fullness of restoration. The fullness of the promise I made when you were too young to understand it, but too chosen to avoid it. I have not forgotten the covenant I made over your life. And tonight, the covenant is coming alive with fire. So pause. Breathe. Feel me here. I am in your space, child. Not in theory. In truth. Not in idea. In reality. You don't need to beg me to come close. I'm already nearer than the fear you're trying to fight. You don't need to summon me with perfection. I've already chosen to arrive with power. And I will not be late. I will not be subtle. I will not be silent. When I move myself, heaven pays attention. Angels align. Timelines bend. Realities shift. This is that kind of night. A night of divine disruption. A night of sacred unfolding. A night where the God of glory moves not around you, but into you. So open every part of your heart. Tear down every wall you've used for self-protection. Because I am moving now, not with distance but with intimacy. And when I move myself, nothing remains the same. I see the way your heart has quivered in the quiet. I see the tremble that runs through your spirit when no one's watching. That sacred shake that feels like nervousness but carries a deeper echo. I want you to know, you are not imagining it. The stirring you feel, the subtle but steady pull in your chest, the moments where it feels like something unseen is shifting the ground beneath your feet. It's not coincidence. It's not confusion. It's not emotional fatigue. It is the sacred quake of destiny being realigned. The fibers of your future are being tugged back into place, and your soul, sensitive to the divine, is feeling the ripple before the rest of your world catches up. That shaking inside you is not instability. It's the signature of sovereignty. You've entered a divine recalibration, and the shaking is proof that I am removing everything not fastened to your purpose. Let me say this plainly, beloved. The reason you feel unsteady isn't because you're weak. It's because the old foundation is being replaced. I am realigning your life to match what I have written, not what you have tolerated. And alignment begins with movement, with that unsettling sense that something is about to happen. And it is. The heavens have shifted. The blueprint has been summoned. And every delay, every detour, every decision you made in faith has come full circle to this trembling threshold. You're not shaking because you're breaking. You're shaking because I'm building something stronger beneath the surface. Yes, even now. Beneath the facade of fatigue. Beneath the exhaustion of unanswered questions. Beneath the heaviness of the weight. Something holy is shaking loose every lie that told you this was the end. And listen closely. Your destiny cannot be denied, but it must be aligned. And that's what this shaking is doing. Releasing what cannot remain. Resetting what must return. Realigning you back to the center of my design. You've wondered, why do I feel so undone, so tender, so vulnerable? And I tell you now, it's because I'm softening the soil for divine planting. What once hardened you out of survival, I'm now breaking open for revival. This trembling isn't the collapse of who you are. It's the awakening of who you've always been beneath the layers of pressure and pretense. Child, destiny never walks in quietly. It arrives with the kind of shaking that makes you question everything but me. It rattles the cages you forgot you were trapped in. It moves the pieces you tried to keep still, because what's ahead cannot be built on what was. This is a holy earthquake, a prophetic shifting, and I'm allowing you to feel it first, because you're the one I'm trusting to carry what comes after. That sense of instability you're feeling, it's the proof you're standing on the threshold of the divine. So don't fear the shaking. Embrace it. Dance with it. Let it rewire the rhythms of your old routines. Let it pull apart what comfort trying to conceal. You are not fragile. You are being fortified. And this trembling is not trauma revisited. It's territory being reclaimed. You're not being torn down. You're being positioned. And as you stand in the center of the shaking, remember this. Your foundation is not failing. It's being freshly laid. On my word, on my promise, on my unshakable, undeniable, unstoppable will for your life. I have not called you to balance the old. I've called you to birth the new. And before birthing comes trembling. So when you feel that internal shift again, when your heart pounds for no reason, and your thoughts swirl in unusual clarity, remember this. You are not losing control. You are regaining alignment. This shaking is not a storm. It's a signal. Destiny is not distant. It is brushing against your very bones. And what feels like instability is actually me setting the stage for the most precise move of your life. I have watched you when no one else noticed. I've watched you in the shadows of obedience. When your yes didn't come with celebration. When your faithfulness didn't trigger reward. I saw the silent choices you made. The sacred sacrifices you didn't broadcast. The moments you picked up your cross when no one was clapping and no one was looking. You walked through valleys that felt void of light and stood on battlefields with no crowd cheering for your courage. And yet you stayed. You stayed when staying cost you comfort. You believed when belief had no evidence. You prayed when your lips were dry from silence and your heart felt hollow from delay. This kind of faith, child, this hidden, humble, holy faith, it moves me more than you know. And tonight, I'm not just watching anymore. I'm responding. I'm responding not to your performance, but to your perseverance. I'm responding not to perfection, but to posture. The way you positioned your heart toward me even when your life didn't look like my promises. You trusted me in the in-between. And that trust has reached my throne like thunder. You may have whispered, but in heaven, it echoed. Your hidden faith was never hidden from me. I stored every moment of it. Like precious treasure tucked into the folds of eternity. I recorded your quiet obedience, your unseen surrender, your long nights of uncelebrated devotion. And now, child, the scroll of remembrance has been opened. And I, your God, am responding not with delay, but with divine immediacy. This isn't repayment. It's recognition. This isn't pity. It's prophecy fulfilled. Because faith like yours cannot go unrewarded. Let me remind you, when others were loud with declarations, you were consistent in devotion. When others flaunted revelation, you cultivated relationship. I saw it. I saw you bite your tongue when you wanted to defend yourself. I saw you speak peace in rooms where you had every right to shout. I saw you give when it hurt, serve when it was inconvenient, love when you were left empty. That's the kind of faith that shakes kingdoms. That's the kind of faith that releases responses. And tonight, I'm not responding with small tokens. I'm responding with a flood of affirmation, a flood of restoration, a flood of divine recompense so undeniable that even the ones who doubted your endurance will have to admit, God has honored the hidden ones. You didn't need applause to keep going. You just needed me. And now I'm showing you what happens when heaven claps back for the quiet ones. I'm opening doors that match your hidden surrender. I'm calling your name in places you've never stepped, rooms you never thought you'd enter. This is the night I respond not with a whisper, but with a roar. You thought no one saw, but I did. And I never forget the faithful. So brace yourself, beloved. Not for judgment, not for more delay, but for divine response. Because tonight, the applause you never asked for is erupting in heaven, and the fulfillment you thought was too far away is landing on your doorstep. I am responding to the ones who stayed. And child, you stayed. Beloved, listen carefully, because what I'm about to say is not laced with metaphor. It is wrapped in finality. You have been waiting for breakthrough. You have been praying for it, facing for it, weeping for it. But what is arriving now is not just breakthrough. It is fulfillment. It is the culmination of a countdown that began in my heart long before you ever knew you needed rescue. This is not the opening of a door. This is the striking of destiny's clock at 0. I have been counting down, not seconds on a stopwatch, but seasons of your surrender. Every yes you whispered when no one was clapping. Every tear you let fall when no one asked why. Every quiet battle you fought in the dark while the world celebrated others in the light. I counted it all. I stored it. I sealed it in the vault of eternity. And now, child, that vault is opening, and what had been preserved in silence is exploding in timing. This countdown was not arbitrary. It wasn't a delay meant to test your patience for the sake of heaven's amusement. It was precision. Divine, deliberate, uncompromising precision. You were not waiting in vain. You were waiting for the fullness of time, for the perfect intersection between who you've become and what I've designed. And now, like a final second striking midnight, like the last grain of sand slipping through the hourglass, that moment has come. Not by luck, not by chance, by covenant. I did not make you promises to dangle them before your aching heart. I made them because I knew this moment would arrive. I knew the countdown would end. I knew that when it did, you would be ready, not just to receive, but to carry what others couldn't. I've not brought you to the edge of fulfillment only to show you the view. I've brought you here to deliver what had been divinely developed behind the curtain of delay. This is not a partial fulfillment. Not a teaser, not a preview. This is the manifestation of everything you almost stopped believing for. You see, true fulfillment is not just about the end result. It's about the divine story it tells. And your story, child, is filled with chapters of waiting that now become testimonies of glory. You didn't realize it, but while you were measuring your weight in days, I was measuring it in depth. And now the depth you endured is the same depth I'm pouring into this release. You are not receiving a shallow blessing. You are being trusted with a weighty one. The kind that silences doubters. The kind that exposes quiet favor. The kind that makes up for years of almosts and not yets and maybe next times. I am the God who finishes what I start. And this is me finishing the fulfillment I authored when I first called your name. So don't look back. Don't second guess what you're feeling. This is not hype. This is heaven. This is what happens when divine countdowns reach 0. Suddenly, swiftly, supernaturally, I move. And when I move at 0, nothing remains the same. Everything begins to align with the sound of my voice. Doors open without keys. Battles end without noise. Favor flows without explanation. This is not the beginning of the wait. This is the beginning of the walkthrough. You are not at the edge of another delay. You are standing at the threshold of delivery. And I, your God, am handing you what was written in the scrolls with your name on it, not as a reward for endurance, but as the conclusion of covenant. The divine countdown is over. 0 has arrived, and with it, the kind of fulfillment that turns pages, writes seasons, and resounds through generations. Child, what I'm about to say must land in your spirit like a trumpet, not a whisper. There is a window, a rare, holy, prophetic window, opening in the spirit right now. It is not abstract. It is not poetic. It is literal in the supernatural realm. And that window, beloved, will not remain open forever. That's why I had to reach you now. That's why the urgency has wrapped itself around every moment of your day. You kept wondering why everything felt so weighty, so strange, so electric. It's because heaven has opened something that time cannot contain. And I could not risk you missing it. I couldn't wait until you felt more confident, more put together, more spiritually ready. I had to speak now, because this window is a limited opening for unlimited release. When I say window, I don't mean convenience. I mean convergence. A divine alignment of things that haven't touched in decades, timelines, people, assignments, opportunities, all moving at once to intersect with your obedience. This isn't about hype. This is about heaven's momentum. I've been orchestrating this opening behind the scenes, preparing the stage while you walk through scenes of sorrow. And now, the curtain is rising. But hear me, you must not hesitate. This moment does not wait for your fear to subside. It moves on the shoulders of your faith. And if you pause too long, if you second-guess the stirring, you will find that the window has passed and the moment has moved. Not because I stopped loving you, but because divine windows are built around divine timing. I'm not saying this to pressure you, I'm saying this to prepare you. Because once you understand the weight of this moment, you'll see why the warfare increased, why the distractions multiplied, why everything tried to dull your discernment just as the window began to crack open. The enemy cannot close what I open, but he will do everything to cloud your vision so you miss it. But not this time. Not tonight. I've cleared the fog. I've shattered the noise. I've broken through your distractions just to deliver this. The window is open. Now, and what you do in this hour will determine what unfolds in the next. I am not asking for perfection. I'm asking for permission, your permission to move through you as quickly as I've moved for you. I'm asking for your surrender, not your strategy. I'm asking for your faith, not your formulas. This is your moment of movement. The window will not wait for logic. It responds only to obedience. So, beloved, let this truth settle deep inside you. You were not meant to miss this. I orchestrated this message. I aligned your attention. I wove divine interruptions into your day so that your heart would be ready to hear this sentence. The window is open, but it is not eternal. It is brief. It is divine. It is powerful. And it is yours, if you step through it now. Don't say later. Don't wait for confirmation from others. This is your confirmation. I am your confirmation. You felt the urgency, and now you know why. I love you too much to let this moment pass without warning. And I trust you too deeply to believe you won't respond. The window is open, child. Heaven is leaning low. Your name is being whispered in the corridors of fulfillment. And I came to tell you first before the window closes. My beloved child, you need to hear this with the full weight of heaven behind every word. What is approaching you tonight is not recycled. It is not secondhand. It is not the scrap swept from someone else's table. This is not an afterthought or a maybe someday miracle. No, this is what I preserved with intention. This is what I protected in silence. This is what I've been holding back until your heart was finally healed enough to hold it. What's coming isn't delayed because I forgot. It's preserved because I remembered. Remembered your prayers. Remembered your tears. Remembered the way you held on to my word even when the evidence mocked your hope. What's coming tonight is holy. It's handcrafted. It's tailored so precisely to you that no one else could wear it. I didn't wrap this in haste. I wrapped it in honor. Do you realize how many times I told the heavens, not yet? They're not ready to carry this weight without it crushing them. You know how fiercely I've guarded this breakthrough from contamination. I wouldn't let others see it, name it, or touch it, because it was not theirs to access. It was yours, and not just any version of you, the you that fought through nights you didn't speak of, the you that smiled through silent sorrow, the you that gave when nothing was being given back. You thought no one noticed, but I did. I saw you give me your best when life gave you its worst. I watched you build altars in seasons where others abandoned me. And for every time you stayed, for every quiet yes that echoed through your wilderness, I preserved something personal, sacred, and pure. This is not a public production. This is a private unveiling. The glory I'm releasing now is not meant for display, it's meant for transformation. And you will know it's me because it will not feel like something you earned. It will feel like something I etched with your name in mind. That's why you had to wait longer than others. That's why the door didn't open when you knocked with tears. I wasn't withholding to punish. I was preserving to protect. I wouldn't let anyone else name what only I could deliver. And now, in this divine hour, what I've held in reserve is coming out of hiding. This is not just a blessing. It's a revelation. A divine unveiling of what's always been in my heart for you, untouched, unshared, uncopied. And it's yours, entirely yours. And child, hear this clearly. No one will be able to take credit for it. No one will be able to say they opened the door for you. And no one will say they gave you the opportunity, the platform, the connection. Because this miracle, this moment, this movement, carries my fingerprints and my fingerprints alone. It was too pure to be placed in polluted hands. It was too weighty to be released prematurely. So I preserved it in my glory, like fine wine in sacred barrels, waiting for your spirit to mature enough to sip what would have once overwhelmed you. And now the cork has been broken. The seal is lifted. Your aroma of favor is in the air. What's coming tonight isn't leftover from someone else's miracle. It's what I've preserved in the vault of my timing, and it's being poured into your life like oil, thick, fresh, overflowing. This, child, is what I've been saving just for you. Let me pull back the veil for a moment, child, and show you what your eyes could not see. That warfare that surged around you, that sudden confusion, that unexpected heaviness, that invisible pressure that made even simple things feel suffocating. It wasn't meaningless. It wasn't madness. It was movement. And not just any movement. It was the enemy's panic when he caught the scent of what I was preparing to pour over your life. You see, hell can't read your future, but it can smell my favor. And when the fragrance of fulfillment begins to rise from the corridors of heaven, it triggers chaos in the camp of darkness. That's why the battles intensified without warning. That's why you were hit from directions that didn't make sense. Because the enemy picked up the scent of my glory approaching you and he panicked. He panicked because he knew he couldn't stop me, so he tried to stop you. If he could get you to quit before it came, he could at least rob you of the joy of watching me fulfill every last word I spoke over your life. He threw distraction after distraction. He amplified voices of doubt. He stirred up weariness like a whirlwind around your soul. Not because you were failing, but because you were finally near. You were dangerously close to crossing into something irreversible. And he knew it. That's why the warfare sharpened. That's why even your rest felt restless. That's why your prayers felt like they hit ceilings. Because the enemy was trying to block what had already been dispatched. Not what was pending, what was already en route. He couldn't stop the delivery. Well, you hoped he could stop your preparation. But child, look at you. Still standing. Still pressing. Still whispering amen through clenched teeth and weary sighs. That's what shook him the most. Not the blessing, but your unbreakable belief in the middle of the battle. And because you didn't cave, because you didn't curse my name when the fog rolled in, you are now about to see why hell fought so hard. You're not being rewarded for surviving. You're being elevated because you refuse to partner with defeat. And I, your defender, took note. I saw every snare that was set, every arrow that flew, every shadow that crept into your atmosphere. And I intervened. You didn't feel it at the time, but I dispatched warring angels. I shielded your mind when thoughts tried to spiral. I surrounded your room when sleep felt impossible. And all the while, the enemy was screaming because what he feared was finally finding you. So don't misinterpret the chaos. It wasn't your failure, it was proof of your favor. When the scent of breakthrough rises, the snakes always start to slither. But I didn't let a single one bite you beyond what I could heal. And now, beloved, the enemy's panic has backfired. His attacks became the very platform I will now use to showcase my promise. The very space he tried to fill with fear is now about to be filled with my fire. And the timing, worth it. Because the same hands that held you during the storm are now about to crown you in the calm. You didn't know what was happening, but I did. You just thought it was a hard week, but in the spirit realm, the scent of your fulfillment was so thick that darkness couldn't breathe. And now that scent becomes substance, now that warfare becomes witness, I'm not just bringing breakthrough. I'm making sure the enemy watches you walk into every promise untouched, undefeated, and undeniably chosen. Child, hear me now with clarity that pierces through every cloud of confusion. What I have set in motion for your life cannot be stopped. It cannot be stalled by hell's threats. It cannot be deleted by men's doubt. It cannot be unraveled by the fear that tries to tangle itself around your mind in the night. When I speak, the winds align. When I move, mountains tremble. And when I write your name into the story of destiny, no demon, no delay, no detour has the authority to erase it. You need to let this truth sink deep into your spirit, because the enemy has been trying to convince you otherwise. He's been whispering that the waiting means forfeiting, that your mistakes canceled the mission. But I, the Lord your God, say to you, what I've authored, I will finish. The pen I wrote your promise with was dipped in eternal ink. Unsmudgeable, unshakable, unalterable. This is not a fragile plan that breaks under pressure. This is a divine decree, spoken from the throne room of heaven with full authority and finality. Yes, you've stumbled. Yes, you doubted. But none of that has changed my mind. Your destiny is not based on your perfection. It's anchored in my promise. And that promise stands, not because you've always held tightly to me, but because I've never let go of you. The enemy hoped your silence meant surrender. You hoped your questions meant you walked away. But I saw what he missed. I saw that even with your hands shaking, you never let go completely. You held on by a thread, and I turned that thread into a rope of rescue, pulling you back toward everything I originally planned. Listen to me, child. The enemy is not creative. He is reactive. He only fights what threatens him, and he only threatens what carries divine authority. That's why he came after your mind. That's why he assaulted your confidence, clouded your clarity, drained your energy. Because he could smell what was coming. But no matter how loud he screams, he cannot reach what I have already released. He can attempt interference, but he cannot intercept destiny once I have dispatched it. You see, I didn't just plan your future. I activated it. I whispered it into motion before you took your first breath. And that motion has never stopped. It may have looked still to you, but in the spirit, it's been moving like a river, slow, steady, unstoppable. And now, that river is reaching your banks. So lift your head, wipe your tears, silence the questions that beg for explanation. I didn't bring you this far to leave you vulnerable. I brought you this far to show you that nothing can stop what I've written. Not people who walked away, not years you thought were wasted, not pain that feels unresolved. I am redeeming it all. And I don't just restore, I elevate. I raise what was bearing. I breathe on what looked lifeless. And I bring completion to what was spoken. Let the enemy watch in horror as I do what he feared most. Fulfill my word in your life with fire, glory, and no apology. What I've written stays in, and what I've started ends in victory. You've heard me speak it. I mark this night for you. But now I ask you, my beloved, to sow into the very stream that is carrying my voice to others. This oil that flows to you must flow through you. Every seed you plant keeps the fire burning, the message moving, the manna multiplying. Give, and it shall be given unto you not as theory, but as truth alive in your now. Luke 6:38. I have positioned you here not just to receive this final call, but to carry it forward, to light another's night. Your gift is not a transaction. It is a trumpet. It declares that my word is worth spreading. Support this mission now through Super Thanks, membership, or the giving link in the description. Do it now. Obey while the anointing is fresh. Before you ever cried out in desperation, before you ever wrestled with the timeline, before you ever wondered if I'd forgotten what I promised, I mark this night. Not as a possibility, not as a backup plan, as a divine appointment, etched onto the scrolls of heaven with your name engraved beside it. This isn't random. This isn't an accident. I circled this night in the sacred archives of eternity and said, that will be the night I move. Long before your prayers reached your lips, long before you even had language for what you needed, I knew. I saw it. I authored it. I prepared this moment not when you asked, but when you were still unaware of how close breakthrough truly was. You see, child, heaven doesn't operate on coincidence. I don't deal in maybes or mights. I am the God of intentionality. Every date I set carries eternal weight. And this night, this sacred night you're living in right now, hath been set apart as a turning point, a divine hinge on which everything is about to shift. While you looked at the clock and calendar with disappointment, thinking I had passed you by, I was waiting for the right alignment. Because the delivery I'm bringing isn't just meant to bless, it's meant to build. It's meant to launch you into a level of purpose that changes not only your story, but generations that come after you. That's why I marked it. That's why I protected it. That's why the warfare intensified as this night drew near, because darkness recognized the weight of this date even before you did. And now, beloved, it is here. The marked night. The appointed hour. The long-awaited now. Don't treat it casually. Don't dismiss the significance, because your surroundings haven't yet caught up with your spirit. I've been orchestrating this behind the scenes, not just preparing the blessing, but preparing you to receive it. You weren't being punished in the waiting. You were being positioned in the waiting. And now that the clock of heaven has struck your name, the release will begin, not by force, but by fulfillment. It will flow. It will find you. It will arrive without striving, because what I've marked cannot be missed. You thought you were behind schedule, but I say you're right on time for what I've ordained. So breathe in this moment. Let the reality of it wrap around you like warm oil. This night, child, is not like the others. It's not just another tick on the calendar. It is the fulfillment of something sacred that was hidden for such a time as this. I didn't let you miss it. I wouldn't let you skip over it. And now that it's here, all of heaven watches in joyful silence as I deliver what has been delayed, as I unveil what has been veiled. This is not a coincidence. This is not a consolation prize. This is covenant. You are standing in a moment that was written before you were ever wounded. And the fact that you're still here to receive it means that nothing, not even your lowest valley, was enough to cancel what I marked in my glory. This night has come, and with it, everything is about to change. I need you to lean in, breathe deep, and let me explain what your soul has felt but your mind hasn't yet understood. The heaviness you've been carrying, that invisible weight pressing on your chest, making even ordinary moments feel monumental. It's not because you're failing. It's not because you've lost me. It's because you're about to carry something far greater than what you've ever carried before. And glory always carries weight. The enemy has tried to twist this weight into weariness. He's whispered that your exhaustion means you're out of alignment. But no, you're not misaligned. You're being measured. I've been stretching your spirit, enlarging your capacity, deepening the reservoir of your soul, because what I'm about to pour cannot be carried by shallow vessels. And while others asked for spotlight, you asked for substance. While others sought platform, you sought my presence. And I heard that. I honored that. And now, I'm responding not with something light and fleeting, but with something deep, dense, and dripping with destiny. You see, glory isn't glitter. It's weight. And only those who have endured the crushing can carry it. That's why I allowed you to feel pressure in places you once felt peace, not to punish you, but to prepare you. Because what I'm about to place in your life will carry generational consequence. It's not just favor, it's fulfillment. It's not just blessing, it's birthing. You've been impregnated with something holy, and the weight you feel is the pressure of heaven preparing for delivery. The contractions of calling have begun. And yes, they feel like resistance, but they are signals, divine signs, that the glory I've hidden in you is about to be revealed through you. So, child, don't mistake the heaviness for abandonment. It is evidence that my hand is resting upon you heavier than it ever has. I am pressing you, not crushing you, stretching you, not suffocating you. And every sigh that escapes your lips, every tear that rolls down unnoticed, every moment you feel the tension between staying small and stepping forward, it all matters. It's all part of the glory. I did not call you to carry what's common. I called you to carry what's consecrated. And that weight, that sacred, holy, divine weight, is your confirmation. You're about to carry nations in your prayers, people in your words, purpose in your footsteps. And with that comes a shift in your spirit. You can't laugh the way you used to. You can't entertain distractions the way others do. You've been marked for more. And with that mark comes pressure, but also power, glory that turns the tide, anointing that breaks cycles, presence that transforms every room you enter. This is why it's been heavy, because you've been trusted with more than others could bear. And now that weight is about to turn into witness. What once bowed your back will now raise your head. The glory is not just coming to you, it's rising through you. Let me speak clearly into that trembling place in your heart, the part that has been asking, why does this feel so overwhelming? I hear you. I see you. And I want you to know this. You're not overwhelmed because you're weak. You're overwhelmed because I'm doing more than you asked. You prayed for an answer. I'm releasing an assignment. You asked for relief. I'm unlocking a realm. You cried out for rescue. I'm awakening your reason. This isn't just divine assistance. This is divine activation. And yes, it feels big. Because it is. You asked me to come and change a situation. But I came to change you. I didn't just come to adjust the atmosphere around you. I came to ignite the assignment inside you. The pain you endured wasn't punishment. It was preparation. The delay wasn't denial. It was divine incubation. And now, what I placed inside you long before you had language for it is stirring, rising, breaking through the shell of your former seasons. You thought you were waiting on me to answer, but I was waiting on you to awaken. Because the anointing I'm calling you into now isn't attached to convenience, it's attached to calling. That's why everything feels magnified, why your emotions have been heightened, why your environment feels unfamiliar even when it hasn't changed. It's because your spirit has outgrown what your surroundings still reflect. And I'm calling you to rise, not just in hope, but in holy authority. I've placed keys in your hands that you didn't even realize you carried. I've buried gifts within you that are now cracking open. This isn't just a season of answered prayer. It's a season of activated purpose. You're not just receiving. You're becoming. Becoming who I saw when I first breathed life into your lungs. Becoming who the warfare was trying to prevent. Becoming the vessel through which my glory will move like fire through dry lands. So yes, this feels big. And it's supposed to. Because you were never called to a small life. I didn't create you for comfort. I created you for consequence. To shift atmospheres. To shape foundations. To release words that ripple through timelines. And now, that purpose is no longer dormant. It's active. Away. Alive. You don't need to figure it all out. You just need to say yes. Say yes to the stretch. Say yes to the fire. Say yes to the favor that feels too heavy for your shoulders, because I am strengthening you for it even now. I'm not just answering your prayers, child. I'm answering creation's cry through you. And that's why it feels bigger, because it is. Beloved, you've been walking for so long with the weight of unanswered questions. I've watched you take steps forward even when your heart cried out for answers I didn't yet give. I saw the way you looked up through tear-blurred eyes and whispered, "Why?" And while I remained quiet, you remained faithful. And now, because you chose to trust me in the silence, I am coming tonight not just to wrap you in comfort, but to clothe you in clarity. Not all of it at once, but more than you had. And enough to finally breathe deeper, walk bolder, and sleep in peace. Clarity is not always clean. It doesn't always come with full explanations or tidy conclusions. Sometimes clarity comes in waves, holy revelations that wrap themselves around your past pain and say, "See, even that had purpose." And that's what I'm doing tonight. I'm pulling back the veil. I'm showing you the fingerprints of my hand on situations that once felt senseless. That closed door wasn't rejection, it was protection. That silence wasn't neglect, it was insulation. The delay wasn't a curse, it was a cocoon. You didn't see it then. but you'll begin to see it now. Because clarity is coming. Like light breaking through dense fog. Like sunrise kissing the mountains after a long night. It's coming. And when it lands on your spirit, child, it won't just soothe you, it will steady you. There's a difference between comfort and clarity. Comfort wipes your tears. Clarity gives those tears meaning. Comfort holds you while you hurt. Clarity helps you walk forward with holy confidence, even if the scars remain. And tonight, I'm not just drying your eyes. I'm realigning your vision. You've wondered if you missed me. You've questioned if you misheard me. And I say to you now, with fire in my voice and compassion in my hands, no, you did not miss me. You moved by faith, and I honored it. Even when the road curved. Even when the results didn't match the vision. Even when people you trusted turned away and left you carrying questions they never cared to answer. I was still there. And I've never stopped weaving the beauty from the threads of your broken understanding. So get ready, child. Not for all the answers, but for the right ones. The ones that matter. The ones that will set your soul free from cycles of shame, self-blame, and silence. I'm not just bringing comfort tonight. I'm delivering clarity. It won't come through noise. It won't come through logic. It will come through my whisper. Through the unexpected stillness. Through the way a scripture suddenly hits differently. Through the moment a memory that once stung now sings of survival. I'm showing you what you couldn't have understood before, because the wounds were still open. But now they're healing. And with healing comes new sight. Tonight, child, I give you this promise. The questions that used to torment you will become the very doorways through which I will speak peace. Not every question will be answered, but enough will. Enough to run again. Enough to trust again. Enough to walk with your head high, knowing God didn't abandon me. He was just preparing me to understand what only now makes sense. I see the conflict within you, the quiet war between what you feel and what I've declared. I see how you've mistaken fear for failure. I see how the trembling in your heart makes you question if you're really ready for what I'm sending. But listen to me now. Your feelings are not final. Your feelings are not the forecast. What I'm doing in this moment is bigger than your fear. Bigger than your doubts. Bigger than your self-perception. You may feel small, but that doesn't disqualify you. In fact, that humility is exactly what qualifies you. Because I don't build on pride. I build on surrender. And you, my child, have surrendered. Over and over. In tears. In silence. In worship that rose like incense even when your faith felt fragile. And now I am responding. Not to your feelings, but to your faith. You've been trained by disappointment to expect small. You've learned to brace yourself. To lower your expectations to avoid more heartbreak. But child, that was survival. And this is revival. I'm about to shatter the ceiling you've built over your own worth. You've prayed small prayers, but I've prepared massive answers. You've expected a trickle, but I'm releasing a flood. What's coming doesn't match your feelings. It matches my favor. And favor doesn't ask how you feel. Favor doesn't wait until you feel bold. Favor descends because I said so, because I chose you, because your heart, though weary, still turns toward me. You see, I don't need you to feel ready. I need you to be willing. And you are. Even in your questions. Even in your trembling. I know you're afraid. But I also know you're listening. I know you've said, God, if this is you, I'll go, even if I go with shaking knees. And that, beloved, is enough. Because I do my best work through trembling vessels. I send my biggest assignments to unlikely candidates. I pour my heaviest oil on those who have already been crushed. That fear you feel is not disqualification, it's confirmation. You're standing on the edge of something massive, and your soul knows it. That's why your feelings are loud. But I didn't come tonight to affirm your fear. I came to announce your favor. So walk with me, trembling or not. I'll carry you if I must. I'll strengthen you as you step. But don't disqualify yourself just because you feel small. David felt small. Esther felt unworthy. Moses felt inadequate. But I don't call the confident. I make confident the ones I call. I give boldness as you walk. I give strength as you speak. And I release heaven-sized impact through hearts that stay soft even when life tries to harden them. You are not too small. You are not too late. And this moment is not waiting for you to feel perfect. It's waiting for you to say yes. And child, I've already heard your yes, even when it sounded more like a whisper than a shout. And that yes is enough. Because I'm not waiting on your perfection. I'm responding to your posture. And the favor I'm releasing. It's not small. It's massive. And it's already in motion. Child, don't you dare mistake this moment for the finale. Don't you dare let the weariness of this chapter convince you the book is closing. No. This is not the end. This trembling place, this midnight hour, this fire-forged threshold, is the beginning. Not just of something new, but of everything I wrote about you in secret when the world didn't yet know your name. You've been judging your future based on your current fatigue. You've assumed the delay was the death of the dream. But I, the author and finisher, say this. You've only reached the comma, not the conclusion. You see, what I penned in the scrolls of heaven about you, before your first breath, before your first heartbreak, before your first cry of surrender, was not short. It was not flimsy. It was not fragile. It was weighty, woven with wonder, saturated in purpose, and every page was laced with me. And now, what I wrote in the quiet is beginning to echo in the public. What I concealed in secret is about to erupt into the open. You thought your silence meant I'd forgotten you. But child, I was just setting the stage. I was letting time catch up to what I had already finished in eternity. And now, the curtain is rising. Not on the end, but on the explosive beginning of everything your spirit has barely dared to dream. You've mourned as if something was over, but I am resurrecting what never died. I buried it in me. I hid it in heaven. I tucked it behind the veil, away from premature exposure. And now that your heart has matured, now that your surrender has deepened, now that your hands are clean and your worship has weight, I am unsealing the scroll. The story is unfolding. And it's not small. It's not a subplot. It's not a consolation prize. It's the main event. And you, yes, you, are still central to it. Not because you earned it, but because you endured for it. And I saw every moment that tried to cancel you. I watched every lie that tried to shrink your identity. But I would not allow the final chapter to be written by fear, because I never stopped holding the pen. So get ready, child. This is the beginning, the real beginning, where what I promised begins to take form, where every shattered hope is reassembled in glory, where the embers of your calling are stoked into wildfire, where the pages turn so fast your past won't be able to catch up. Don't mourn what you lost. Celebrate what I've been saving. I did not bring you here for a funeral. I brought you here for a first breath. This isn't the end. This is the ignition. the birthing, the first step into everything heaven's been holding until you were finally able to carry it without breaking. You're not finishing the race. You're stepping onto the track. And I, your Father, am cheering as every angel turns to witness. The beginning has begun. Precious child, if you're only looking with your eyes, you'll miss what's moving in the Spirit. If you only focus on what is seen, you'll mistake stillness for silence and absence for abandonment. But what I'm doing right now isn't first visible, it's visceral. It's in the Spirit before it breaks into the natural. That's why your environment hasn't yet caught up to your expectancy. That's why the people around you are confused while your spirit is stirred. Because I'm not performing for public applause. I'm preparing something supernatural, something so big, your natural eyes can't comprehend it yet. So stop trusting what you see. Start trusting what you know, deep down, in the marrow of your soul, the truth that I, your God, am moving. You've seen delay, but I'm delivering. You've seen silence, but I'm speaking. You've seen closed doors, but I've been opening ones you don't even know exist yet. The natural realm has not yet reflected the eruption in the spiritual, but it will. And when it does, suddenly, swiftly, undeniably, you will look back and say, God was working even when I couldn't see it. You see, I don't follow human timelines. I don't dance to the rhythm of human logic. I move in alignment with divine timing, eternal cadence, perfect orchestration. And while your eyes have scanned the horizon for signs, your spirit has already been sensing the shift that's stirring inside you. That strange feeling that something's coming but you can't name it yet. That's not confusion, that's confirmation. Faith isn't forged in sight. It's forged in trust. And tonight, I'm calling you to trust what your spirit knows, even when your eyes feel blind. The same God who formed the stars in secret is forming your miracle in silence. I haven't forgotten. I haven't faltered. I haven't changed my mind. I'm still the God who finishes what He starts. And what I started in you, the dream, the desire, the divine hunger, was not meant to die in the waiting. It was meant to grow there, to gain depth, to gain fire. And now that it has, the spirit realm is alive with motion. Angels have been dispatched. Alignment is in motion. And your miracle is making its way to manifestation, not because you've seen it, but because you've believed before you saw. So trust me, child, not with your sight, but with your surrender. I don't need your evidence. I need your agreement. Say yes again, even while the room looks the same. Worship again, even while the doors remain shut. Speak faith again, even while your feelings say otherwise. Because the truth isn't what you see. The truth is what I sent. And I said this would come to pass. I said I'd complete the work. I said my plans were good, prosperous, full of hope. And I don't speak empty words. I don't make hollow promises. So lift your eyes higher, not to the natural, but to me. Because what's coming is bigger than what's visible. And what I've begun in you is about to break into the realm of sight, but only after it's finished forging its fire in the unseen. My precious child, there is a moment that sits in the heart of heaven, etched in fire, sealed with purpose, appointed with precision. And I have marked this night, not as a possibility, not as a maybe, but as a divine appointment. Before you breathed your first breath, before your hopes awakened, I penciled in your breakthrough into eternity's ledger and whispered that night, yes, that night, is when everything shifts. You had no idea how close you were walking to destiny, but my spirit registered every step in sacred timing. And tonight, now, the clock of heaven strikes, the scrolls unroll, and the fulfillment you've been pacing toward is crossing the threshold. In your waiting, you may have felt lost, as if your prayers were echoes in a void. But every groan, every tear, every unanswered question was carried upward and recorded. Then, in that quiet moment when your heart feared silence had swallowed me, my calendar flipped a page. This night became the hinge upon which your fairy tale of favor swings. You didn't realize the gravity of your waiting until now, because sometimes you must walk through wilderness to discover that heaven is simply waiting for you to turn the corner. This isn't luck. It isn't timing. It is my timing, and my timing never misses. And though your spirit has felt the pressure, your hands have trembled with longing, and your eyes have blurred with tears, you persisted. That persistence made you ready for this night. That waiting created capacity. That longing calibrated your heart for encounter. So when this hour arrived, your spirit recognized it, even before your mind did. That stillness you feel now isn't absence. It's the hushed moment before thunder breaks, the calm before the shift, the poised breath of your delivery resounding in my hand. The world may not yet say anything has changed, yet, but heaven has already shifted. Alignments are forming. Angels are parking outside the door of your destiny. I don't mark nights without moving records. I don't circle dates without setting motion. And what I've set in motion now will roll. The first tremors are under your feet. You will walk forward from this night, not as someone fortunate, but as someone anointed. Not as someone healed by happenstance, but someone delivered by covenant. You didn't miss the timing, and neither does your giving. Right now I'm moving, and I'm inviting you to move with me. What you've just received, others are still waiting to hear. Will you help me get this final call into their hands? I've placed rivers of living water in your spirit, but I also call you to become a well for others. Those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed. Proverbs 11:25. And your obedience here is a gateway to greater release. Give boldly. Give prophetically. Sow through super thanks, membership, or PayPal using the link below. Don't wait. Multiply the impact. I'm watching the ones who respond. Beloved, lift your head and awaken to my voice. All this time you thought you missed your window. You accused yourself of failing. You felt the race was lost, the timing ruined, the purpose paused. But hear me now, you didn't miss it. You didn't mess it up. Your timeline was not broken. You are not behind. It was my plan, not yours. And if there was ever a moment of derailment, I gather the pieces and craft it back into my perfect design. You are exactly on time. Often, the delay is just preparation that we wrongly interpret, because we measure in moments, but I measure in destiny. And this moment is yours, and it is ripe. You may tremble. You may fret. You may suspect the whisper in your heart is too small for the sound of what I've spoken. But I say to you, now is the time. Faith doesn't require us to see the full path. It only requires us to trust the guide. You are not late for your miracle. You are precisely aligned with my plan. Not based on your success, but my sovereign orchestration. What you feel as failure, I have seen as forming. Your stumbles were not derailments. They were soul calibrations. They aligned your spirit with my strategy. And so tonight, the call goes out. Not to someone else. To you. It's spoken directly into the center of your struggle. Into the tremble of your hope. Rise. Rise into your calling. Rise despite what the darkness tried to declare. Wise because my word is declaring a destiny too vast for your mind to contain. Accept that you are not behind. You are not disqualified. You are chosen. You are poised. And you are on time. The delay may have made your faith feel fragile. But this moment, that's where the fragile break is replaced by fervent faith. You see, I didn't wait for your perfect posture. I waited for your surrendered posture. If you're seated in surrender, no matter how shaky that seat, my power will use that posture to move heavy mountains. So rise, beloved. Step into what your spirit has sensed, though your eyes couldn't confirm. The call is underway. It is happening. The tapestry of my purpose is weaving itself into your now with deliberate design. And you are not late. I ask you now to quiet your mind and turn your ears toward the stirrings of your spirit. You've been listening with your mind, dissecting delays, replaying disappointments, doubting delays as divine denials. But tonight, I'm inviting you to shift your listening from logic to longing, from natural noise to supernatural nuance. Let me remind you, spirit hears what ear cannot. Spirit perceives what time conceals. And right now, your spirit is detecting something, a holy movement brushing the fatigue from your frame. It's not on its way. It's already here. Right now. You feel the subtle change in the air. That weight you've carried for too long, unbelief, frustration, stagnation, is being peeled away by the wind of my favor. Not a tiny breeze, but a strong, soft, sacred wind, one that cleanses confusion and carries the fragrance of your promised breakthrough. Your expectations may have dulled in waiting, your trust may have thinned in the storm, your hope may have hovered on the edge of giving up. But in this moment, I'm breathing life back into every dormant dream. I'm not promising what's coming. I'm telling you, it's already arrived. The harvest is here, though the harvest time may not yet feel ripe to your eyes. But your spirit knows. Your spirit knows. And your spirit has been waiting for what your mind couldn't script. This isn't theory. This is tangible. What I'm releasing is so potent that it sweeps through your soul before it breaks into your day. That's why you felt restless, because your spirit is anticipating the shift. That's why tears have come unexpectedly, because your spirit is responding to the fragrance of favor. Let me speak plainly what I promised. The invitation, the open door, the amplified calling, the supernatural alignment is not on its way. It's here. It's circulating through the atmosphere of your life, waiting for your recognition to baptize its power. You might still sense the echoes of delay, but the delivery has already disembarked in the spirit realm. So lean in. Don't dismiss the tremor in your bones. Don't rationalize the stirring in your heart. This is not anxiety. This is activation. Not pressure. Perspective. Civilization's clock hasn't caught up to this spiritual shift, but your soul has. You are more ready than you think. The wind of favor has already whispered, and every part of you that quieted when waiting is stirring again. Accept it. Release your doubts. Let confirmation rise. You're not waiting for your miracle. You're receiving it now. Come closer, my beloved. This isn't a metaphor. This is me, standing in the doorway of your life right now, holding in my hands what you thought slipped through my fingers. You thought I forgot. No, precious one. You forgot my patience was perfect. You forgot I was waiting, not because I lost care, but because I was crafting capacity. The delay wasn't a denial. It was a divine design phase. And now, my child, my arms are full of the joy, the word, the promise you thought could no longer reach you. Because over time, Your heart bore wounds too deep. It couldn't hold the overflow without falling apart. And so I stayed put, caring, watching, preparing, until your heart was healed enough to carry what I've carried for you all along. Let me say it again. I never forgot. I remember every cry in the dark, every whispered help in the night, every sleepless season you walked alone. I logged the faith you exercised even when everything in you felt empty. I've been writing these chapters in your favor, not just because the world owes it to you, but because I promised it to me. I promised my word would come to fulfillment, not for performance, for promise. I have carried this miracle silently, guarding it from cynicism, protecting it from negativity, preserving it from compromise, because I always planned to hand it to you, healed and whole. And the time has come. Do you see me? Not distant, not delayed, not ignoring, but standing, ready, holding what looks like a well you thought my water missed, holding what looks like an echo you thought I never answered, holding what looks like an end, but is only your entrance into everything I've written since before your first breath. That's love. That's covenant. That's my heart toward you. Not an if but a when. Not an if you fix yourself, I'll fix your future. I fixed your future long before you ever felt broken. So now, when you look at me, do not see rejection. See redemption. See intimacy. See fulfillment. See my joy bubbling to meet your healing and hold what once hurt so badly it almost stole your hope. So reach. Let go of your attempts to fix the past. Let go of your fear that you're too late, too flawed, too weary. I stood here, carrying everything you needed, waiting for your healing to catch up with my provision. And now I'm handing it over, not as punishment for delay, but as promise for perseverance. Not because you were perfect, but because you stayed. Not because your wounds were minimal, but because your faith remained. Even when your well ran dry, my love ran deeper. So take it. Open your hands. Stand up. Walk through this doorway not into a promise just fulfilled, but into a season you once thought lost, now redefined by grace, redeemed by love, and lead by the one who never forgot. Beloved, I must speak tenderly into this sacred moment. This unveiling, what is unfolding now, is profoundly personal. It isn't for everyone. I held back some people, not because I forgot them or because I wanted to punish them, but because they weren't meant to bear witness to this part of your journey. There are chapters in your story so intimately crafted that only those with hearts aligned with heaven's voice could come near. That's why certain faces were removed quietly from your path, and why some prayers went unanswered in the presence of others. Not every season could be shared. This was never about isolation. It was about accuracy. I knew that the release I was pointing toward required purity. Hearts that would celebrate the call, not exploit the anointing. Hearts that would hush their judgment and hold you in faith. So I gently swerved paths, not to abandon you, but to align you. To protect what I was preparing. You thought you were forgotten in the absence. They simply weren't truly part of the promise. And that separation isn't void, it's validation. Now, my love child, this intimacy you feel, the quiet assurance, the resonance of destiny, reminds you that this moment is yours. Not everyone who cheered when you started was meant to stay until the breakthrough. Not every voice allowed and was meant to sing at the unveiling. I trimmed the chorus to those whose songs lift heaven louder. And so this part isn't for display or for distributed applause. It is consecrated, reserved, sacred. And you, with your waiting heart and humble faith, have been made ready to receive it, fully, without contamination, wholly accurate to my design for you. That's why I held back some people. Not out of spite, out of sacred strategy. And now that the setting up gives way to the set things free, you'll understand why their presence would have crowded out the clarity of my call. You're not isolated. You're included in what truly matters. Your breakthrough is personal because it's purposed, healed, and holy. And it is only yours. Beloved, my precious one, breathe for a moment and listen to me. Really listen. You are not who you used to be. You are not the same weary soul that entered the storm seasons of yesterday. You are not the trembling heart who once begged me to explain the delay. I've seen the change, the shift, the deep work that no one else noticed. And I, your Father, declare it boldly now. The door that once resisted you is about to open, not because the door changed, but because you did. There were places you weren't ready to walk into before, not because I was withholding, but because I was refining. I wasn't punishing you. I was protecting the promise from being prematurely handled. I couldn't let you enter a realm of blessing that would have broken you. Not because you were unworthy, but because you were unhealed. But now your healing has given way to capacity. The oil that drips from your endurance, the authority forged through your fire, the discernment shaped by silence, all of it has made you ready for what once rejected you. That closed door didn't deny you. It deferred to a better version of you. You don't even fully see it yet, do you? The depth of your transformation, the strife in your softness, the clarity in your compassion. You've evolved in the shadows. You become more like me, not louder, not more visible, but more true, more present, more humble. And that is why the doors are responding, because the frequency of your spirit has shifted, and now heaven is in harmony with your heart. And now the codes are matching, the locks are clicking, the invitation is aligning, the gates are swinging open, not because you shouted louder, but because you surrendered deeper. So when the doors open now, and they will, walk through them without apology. Walk through them with reverence, yes, but without guilt. You earned none of it, but you became ready for all of it. That's what matters. You are not who you were. That version of you couldn't carry this. But this version, this fire-tested, mercy-marked, grace-saturated version, you're ready. And the doors know it. Heaven knows it. Even hell knows it. To go. It's time. What could have opened then, must open now. Beloved child, lean in, closer than ever before, and hear me in the quiet of your spirit. What I am bringing is not crafted for applause. It is not designed for eyes that only crave spectacle or for hearts that seek recognition. No, what I bring now is not for display. It is for destiny. It is weighty, sacred, and sealed in covenant, intended only for those whose souls were tested in silence, whose feet never faltered when the path was unclear, whose hands remained lifted even when congratulations were missing. Only those who stayed when nothing made sense, those whose faith persevered through the fog of confusion, are prepared to handle this moment. I know what feels like failure in your past has pruned you into a vessel of purpose. I know the nights filled with unanswered prayers, the toilets of your tears, and the loneliness of your quiet worship. Every ounce of that formed you into a steward for my purposes. So don't measure progress by who watched you yesterday. Don't weigh worth by how many voices shouted your name. Measure it by the depth of your calling and the sharpness of your refinement. The glory I'm sending is not fragile. It cannot be dangled for the crowd. It is for the heart that stayed faithful when applause was absent, for the soul that worshipped when wonder faded, for the spirit that believed when belief was invisible. This is your season, child. Not because you were perfect, but because you were consistent. You stayed. You persevered. You pressed. And I see you, not for what you lacked, but for what you held, hope. And that hope is your credential to receive what even angels pause to watch. What's coming is not for show, it's for significance. It is the unfolding of the sacred script only you could carry. You didn't just survive the silence. You grew through it. And now the moment is not being given to those who scream the loudest. It is being entrusted to you, the one who remained surrendered when the world went silent. This is not display. This is destiny. And you, yes, you, have been chosen because you carried it when no one was watching. My beloved, tonight I am not only releasing movement, I am releasing instruction. Not just comfort, not just confirmation, but holy strategy, divine direction, infusing your next steps with clarity and purpose. This is instruction that will not come again. This is tailored not just for a moment, but for your milestone. If you are willing to pause, quiet your mind, untangle your thoughts, hush your heart, you will sense it. You will feel the still, small rhythm of my voice weaving strategy into your spirit. And most will miss it, not because it's subtle, but because they are too loud, too hurried, too tied to their own narrative. But you will hear it. If you pause long enough. Listen, my child. I'm speaking to the part of you that has been waiting for a sign, a direction, an instruction that isn't recycled and isn't predictable. You've been waiting not just for an answer, but for my voice to guide your steps with purpose. And tonight, that voice is clear. It's laden with authority, yet gentle enough for your hungry spirit to swallow without fear. It says, move here, way here, be here, stand here. And if you'll pause, if you'll close your eyes long enough to still the world's feedback loop, you will catch it. Because my strategies are spiritual, not just situational. They are woven into the warp and weft of your calling. And tonight, the blueprint unfolds, not through chaos, but through my voice. Let me say this, strategy that resonates with my heart cannot be paused indefinitely. It waits, gently, patiently, but eventually, time moves forward. That is why I am releasing it now. Not for some future version of you, for this you. This moment, this hour carries the intersection of your trust in my instruction. It is a divine download, not a mere direction. If you rush past it, noise will bury it. If you dismiss the quiet, you will miss the cue. So breathe, beloved. Let my voice become loud enough that when the instruction lands in your spirit, it echoes, it reverberates, it becomes framework for your future. You will know it, and it will align your steps with what angels have already been orchestrating. This instruction is only tonight. Pause and receive it with the reverence of one who knows today's strategy shapes tomorrow's destiny. My precious child, you've heard the stillness long before this voice, haven't you? You sat in waiting rooms of disappointment, waited through the seasons that felt suspended, prayed prayers that sounded unheard. You've waited long enough. You've cried long enough, tears that washed your faith but didn't diminish it. You wondered long enough, asking questions in the dark that only hope could hold. But now, listen, now heaven is moving in your direction with intentional speed. Not because circumstances dictate pace, but because my heart has decreed it. You were not designed for a gestational life, waiting for your breakthrough until it's too late. You were wired for God's timing, precise and potent. Every tear, every echo of longing, had been fueling a divine convergence. You stood in silent sanctuaries, whispering hope back when it almost slipped. And now, that whispered hope is roaring. Heaven is not just looking at you, It's unleashing toward you. This isn't a casual encounter. This isn't a suggestions-driven moment. This is divine velocity, deliberate, dynamic, devoutly directed, and pushing every limit of your past paradigm. You may feel the shift already, the air lighter, the pulse quicker, your spirit shimmering with expectancy. That's not your imagination. That's my spirit crashed into your moment. Doors will not gradually glide open. Walls will not crumble with a tremble. Mountain barriers will shatter with the force of my favor. And you, my beloved, will not just pass through this season. You will pivot from it. Mercy arrived first. Grace followed. And now favor is chasing behind with urgency, carrying acceleration and authority. Don't let the hush of your past lull you into delay. Don't wait for perfect timing. Let my timing perfect the season. Heaven's lungs are breathing over your life now. The wind of my move has begun, and it's not slowing down. Beloved child, breathe this in. Even as these words form around your eyes, things are shifting behind the curtain. Yes, in that silent, unseen realm, where purpose is architected, not by proximity but by mentality, you are being plotted into shift. People are awakening with your name on their lips. Not because they studied your narrative, but because I've tapped them with fate. Hearts are echoing your season, conjuring connections. Doors are being primed, favors rehearsed, alignments prepared, all synchronized with sacred precision. While you wonder what the next step is, my kingdom's orchestration is rehearsing your story, like a symphony preparing its crescendo. Favor isn't fumbling through improvisation. It is rehearsed, deliberate, familiar with the note of your calling. And while you wonder if late is still late, I'm writing chapters of introductions you never expected. Sacred connections, heavenly collaborations, others are awakening with your name vibrating through their spirit. They sense what you can't yet see, but you will soon walk in it. The landscape is shifting while anxiety remains still. The maps are being redrawn by my hand, not yours. You've carried your dreams, held your hope, paved your faith, wondering if anyone else did. But now I say, they did. They responded when I whispered coordination into their spirit. And now the hour you've longed for is pulling them toward you. Every settling into frustration was silent groundwork for what's about to connect in glory. Connections made in the spirit realm are preparing to bloom in the natural. Spoken in circle of prayer, sown into moment of intercession, lined by holy sync that only heaven can script. So stand firm. Expect the inexplicable. Walk into the room, and half-known eyes will catch whispers of familiarity, because the spirit realm already knows you. Favor is rehearsing your story, practicing its arrival, brushing past the delay, rehearsing your reception. Do not chase it. Just show up faithful to me. Because while your eyes question, your spirit already belongs. And everything behind the curtain is converging to ensure that the next chapter of your life is not just seen. It is changed, consecrated, and celebrated in ways we only began to dream together. My beloved, hush now and take that in slowly. Do not explain. You've carried too many words about why you're not enough, why they don't see you yet, why the room still looks the same. Dismiss those voices that demand justification. You don't owe conditions to anyone in order to receive what I've already assigned. I told you once, and I say it again, do not explain. Because each time you try to define or defend yourself, you drain the power I've already declared. You shrink what I've named holy. You equate your calling to how others perceive you, instead of anchoring it in my perspective. You shrink under the spotlight of their standards, when I've already elevated you under the glory of my grace. So stop apologizing for my anointing. Stop minimizing the miracle in you because others haven't yet understood it. This is not about humility that has become insecurity. This is about resting in my qualification, not by performance, but by my promise. Do not shrink. You've been wounded by comparison, gaslit by expectations, downsized by judgments, not because I agreed, but because walls rose to protect what I had placed in you. Walls that kept out fear and unbelief, doubts. That is not smallness, that is sanctuary. I qualify you simply because I made you. The moment you chose me, in your darkest seasons when heaven seemed far away, that declaration etched your identity. Not perfection, not applause, but surrender. And that is the qualification that stands forever. So now, beloved, step forward without qualifiers, without excuses, without hedging your words or hiding your light. The world doesn't need your humility. It needs your holiness. Stop understating me. Stop understating you. You are not an accident in my story. You are a sentence with glory on either end. Let me be loud through your life. Let the echo of my qualification resound through every room your feet touch, every floor your spirit falls on. Because you stand qualified not by your past, but by the one who called, who cleansed, who crowned you, even before you understood what being called meant. Beloved child, listen with your spirit. What is coming for you tonight will not just arrive. It will land with such unmistakable clarity that your inner critic, those voices that questioned your worth, your call, your purpose, will be rendered silent forever. Not because those voices disappear immediately, but because they lose their foothold. Let me say this clearly. The confirmation I bring will not invite doubt. It will dismantle it. You've lived with a resting knot in your chest, a tightness each time you considered your future, a background whisper that said not yet, maybe you're not ready, maybe it will never come. But I'm authoring the confirmation that breaks that noise. When my affirmation floods your soul, those doubts will doubt themselves. What you felt as delays will reframe as divine timing. What you thought were failures will reframe as holy preparation. Every time your critic tries to run the old tape of shame, the new tape of my voice will override it. Clarity doesn't always come in thunder. Sometimes it comes in unmistakably unshakable peace. Sometimes it comes in a door opening where every lock tried to hold in place. Sometimes it comes in a whisper of destiny speaking your name in the dark, and that whisper becoming lion roar in broad daylight. When my confirmation hits your spirit tonight, it will feel like sunlight through fog, like a root aligning, not a wound reopening, like prophecy becoming history. So breathe, beloved. Let the release begin deep inside you. Every cell will recognize it. Your vision will shift. Your steps will find boldness in places fear once nested. Your heart, quieted by my voice, will stop bouncing between hope and hesitation. Because what comes tonight, it's louder than your past, stronger than your scars, more real than your fears. It will confirm what you've been too tired to trust. And that confirmation, it will make your inner critic mute. Finished. Done. God's voice, speaking clear, powerful, irrevocable, is what you'll carry from this night forward. Heaven is moving fast, and what you do now matters. I've already sent the shift, but part of your calling is to become a carrier of the fire. Don't just walk away filled, walk away as one who fuels the flame for others. As you give, you are sowing into eternal soil. You're not just supporting content, you're spreading my voice. My word will not return void, Isaiah 55:11, and your gift ensures it reaches the next weary soul on the edge of giving up. This is more than generosity, it's prophetic alignment. Give now, through super thanks, membership, or the link below, and I will multiply your sacrifice in ways only heaven can count. Go now. Move with me while the mantle is still resting upon you. Before you leave this moment, I want you to do something prophetic, not passive, prophetic. Declare it in the comments now. It's coming for me tonight. I'm ready. Write it like a shout from your spirit, not a whisper from your doubt. Let the enemy see your boldness. Let heaven witness your agreement. When you speak it, you activate it. When you write it, you welcome what I've already sent. This is your final call, and I'm watching who responds. And as you declare it, my child, listen to me. Just for a moment, let everything else fall away. I am quieting the world around you so that you can hear me. The noise that fills your days, the constant notifications on your phone, the endless loop of news headlines, the pressure from your job that follows you home, the unspoken worries about your family and your future. I'm placing a divine hush over all of it. Pause now. You feel that? The clamor is fading. It is fading into a reverent silence, a quiet so profound you can almost feel its weight. This is a holy space I have carved out of time, just for you and me. In this quiet, I want you to listen for my voice. It is not a thunderous shout from a distant heaven. It is the same voice that spoke galaxies into existence, the same power that commanded light to pierce the darkness. But tonight, it comes to you as a whisper. It is a whisper that speaks your name, the name I have known from before the foundations of the world were laid. Understand, my precious one, this is not a night for ordinary slumber. I know you are tired. I see the weariness in your soul, the exhaustion that settles deep in your bones. You long for rest, for an escape from the striving. But the sleep I am calling you from tonight is not the sleep of the body. It is the slumber of the spirit, the comfortable numbness you have used to get through your days. This is a time for holy wakefulness. You must be alert, present, and fully aware, for what is happening is of eternal significance. Look up. The celestial bodies, the moon and the stars you see from your window, they are not just hanging in the sky by chance. Tonight, they hold their positions as silent witnesses. They are the audience I have appointed for this sacred conversation between us. Heaven is leaning in close to the earth, my child, and it is leaning in for your sake. Can you feel the shift in the spiritual atmosphere around you? The air is thick with my presence. It is a tangible change, a stillness that is active and alive. The veil between the seen and the unseen is thinner than it has ever been for you. I need you to grasp the importance of this moment. Your hearing these words right now is not an accident. It is a divine appointment. I have set aside this time, this final hour before the threshold of a new reality, to speak with you directly. This is not a message for the masses. It is a final, personal call for you. All the powers of heaven are focused here, on your heart, on your response. Everything you have ever been, everything you have ever done, has led to this intersection of time and eternity. I have watched you, I have waited for you, and now I'm calling you. Let the silence soak into your spirit. Let go of your distractions. Quiet your own inner monologue. Just be still and hear the voice of your Father, your Creator, your God, as I speak to you in the final hush of this sacred night. My beloved, hear me now. Do not let the urgency in my voice be mistaken for anger. Do not hear this as the cold summons of a distant judge. This final call is not a threat whispered from the shadows. It is the most urgent love letter ever penned, written with my heart's blood and delivered to you on the winds of this final hour. My love for you is not a reaction to your goodness. It is the very foundation upon which this moment is built. It is the reason for everything. Before I painted a sunrise or carved a canyon, before the first star was kindled in the void, I thought of you. Your name was a whisper in my heart. Your life, with all its twists and turns, its joys and its deep sorrows, was not an accident. It is the fulfillment of a divine thought I have held for all eternity. I knew every mistake you would make, every time you would turn away, and still, I chose you. I chose to love you. I am the Father who has watched you from the window of heaven your entire life. I saw you take your first steps, and I rejoiced. I saw you wander into the far country, chasing after things you thought would make you happy, and my heart ached for you. You know what it feels like to wait for a loved one, to watch the door with a hope that flickers but never dies. Magnify that feeling by eternity. That is how I have waited for you. Every moment of your life, I have been here, patiently, lovingly, waiting for your return. This final call is the sound of my arms opening wide, perhaps for the last time before the door of grace is shut. It is the cry of a father calling your name across the field as the sun sets, wanting you to come home before the night grows too cold and too dark. This is not a call to a life of rigid rules or joyless duty. It is a call to safety. Imagine a great storm gathering on the horizon, the sky turning a deep, threatening gray. A mother hen does not scold her chicks for wandering. She clucks with a desperate urgency, calling them to the one safe place, the shelter beneath her wings. My call to you tonight is that sound. It is a cry of protective love against a coming tempest you cannot yet see. I do not want you to face it alone. I desire to gather you, to pull you close, to cover you with my presence where no harm can reach you. All I have ever wanted is your heart, your trust, your willingness to let me love you. This isn't about what you have done. It is about who I am. I am your father, and I want my child to come home. Let us speak plainly now, my child, about the life you have built. We must, because I love you too much to let you continue believing in a fantasy. The life you have constructed, the one that feels so solid and real, is a house of cards standing on the edge of a great and mighty wind. You have spent your years carefully stacking one card upon another, believing that if you just get it high enough, balanced enough, it will be secure. But its foundation is sand, and the tide of eternity is coming in. Tonight, that great wind is beginning to blow, and all that is not built on me, the rock, will be swept away. The securities you have trusted in, they are illusions. That job title you worked so hard for, the one that gives you a sense of identity and worth, it is dust. The number in your bank account that you check for a fleeting sense of peace, it is a vapor that vanishes in the light of what is to come. The approval you chase from people who barely know the secret aches of your heart, it is a fleeting echo in a canyon of emptiness. You have been thirsty, my child, so very thirsty. Your soul has cried out for fulfillment, for meaning, for living water. And I, the fountain of all life, have been standing right beside you. Yet you have turned away and spent your energy digging in the dry dirt, trying to create your own wells. You have drunk from broken cisterns that can hold no water. You have sought satisfaction in fleeting pleasures, in the temporary thrill of a purchase, in the momentary escape of entertainment, in the validation of a social media post. Each of these things was a cup with a hole in the bottom. You kept filling it, working harder, faster, chasing the next thing, yet your soul remained parched and dry. These fleeting pleasures have acted as a veil, a thin film over your eyes, hiding the weight and reality of the eternal world from your sight. And what of the lies? The comforting lies you have whispered to yourself in the dark. I have plenty of time. I'm a good person, better than most. My small, Secret sins don't really matter. God understands. He won't hold me accountable. These lies have been your pillows of comfort, but they are stuffed with poison. Tonight, an inescapable truth is dawning, and in its light, those lies will be exposed for what they are. The mirage of earthly permanence, the belief that your life as you know it will go on forever, is about to evaporate. I am not telling you this to crush you, but to save you. You must see the illusion for what it is so you can finally grasp the reality that is me. You must let the house of cards fall so you can find safety in the fortress of my love. Now, come closer. Do not pull away in fear. We must open the ledger of your soul together. But you must understand, I am not here as your accuser, pointing a condemning finger. I am here as your Redeemer, the one who longs to mark your account paid in full. But redemption requires an honest accounting. We cannot heal a wound that we pretend does not exist. Let us look at the page together. What of the forgiveness you have withheld? Think of that person, my child. I know their face comes to your mind even now. A mention of their name still causes a knot to form in your stomach. The forgiveness you have refused to grant them has not imprisoned them. It has become a heavy chain around your own soul, tethering you to a painful past and preventing you from moving forward into the freedom I offer. It stands as a debt against you in the courts of heaven. And what of the secret bitterness that has taken root inside you? It began as a small seed of resentment, an injustice you felt you did not deserve. You watered it with your thoughts, replaying the hurt over and over again. And now it has grown into a poisonous tree, its roots choking the life out of your spirit. You have smiled on the outside while this venom soured your joy from within. It is an account that must be settled. Then there are the promises you made to me. Do you remember them? In moments of desperation, in the dark nights of fear, you cried out, God, if you just get me through this, I will serve you. I will change. I will follow you. I heard you, and I answered. But then the storm passed, the sun came out, and in the ease of your days, you forgot. I remember these vows not to hold them over your head like a cruel master, but as a loving father reminding you of a time when you knew, without a doubt, how much you needed me. The quiet sins, the ones no one else sees, have not been quiet in heaven. The flash of envy you feel when you see someone else succeed. The surge of pride that hardens your heart to correction. The lustful thought you entertain in the secret theater of your mind. The lazy indifference that chooses comfort over compassion. These small foxes have been spoiling the vine of your spiritual life. My child, you cannot pay these debts on your own. Your good deeds are not enough to balance the scales. Tonight is the night for full and honest repentance. It is the night to stop making excuses and to fall before me in humility. For tonight is the night for clearing the entire account, not through your efforts, but through the precious blood of the Lamb, my Son Jesus, who paid a debt he did not owe because you owed a debt you could not pay. My child, when you were born, I gave you a gift more precious than all the gold and diamonds in the universe. I gave you the gift of time. Each sunrise was a new, empty vessel I handed you, a day waiting to be filled with something that matters for eternity. But let us look honestly at how many of those vessels have been filled with meaningless things. How many hours, added up, have been poured out onto the ground, lost to the endless, mindless scroll of a screen. How many evenings have vanished into the haze of television shows you won't even remember a month from now. Think of the conversations you could have had, the encouragement you could have given, the love you could have shown. But you told yourself you were too busy, too tired, that you would do it later. You have been chasing the wind, investing your most valuable asset, your time, in things that have no eternal value. Countless opportunities have passed by you like ships in the night. The chance to speak a word of truth to a searching friend, but you feared their reaction. The nudge in your spirit to help a stranger in need, but you reasoned it away. The quiet moments you could have spent with me, getting to know my heart, but the distractions of the world seemed more urgent. My child, you have a thief living in your house, and his name is procrastination. His favorite word is later. He has quietly stolen your best intentions, your highest callings, and the very jewels I had laid out for you to place in your heavenly crown. You have treated tomorrow as a promise, as a right you were owed. You have lived as if you have 1,000 years left to get things right. But tomorrow was never a promise. It was always a gift of my grace, a gift that is not guaranteed. I need you to see this with all the loving urgency I can convey. Imagine an hourglass sitting on the table in front of you. You can see the sand in the top half, and it is almost gone. Just a few grains remain. You cannot stop them from falling. You cannot turn the hourglass over and start again. This moment, this very breath you are taking right now, is one of those final grains of sand. The weight of your wasted time is not meant to crush you with regret, but to awaken you to the immense value of the present moment. Right now, this is all you have. The past is gone, and the future is not yours to claim. This single moment is where your eternity is being decided. What will you do with it? Do not let this final grain of sand fall into the emptiness of another wasted opportunity. Do not turn away now, my child. We have waded into the painful truth together, but the healing is yet to come. To stop here is to accept the weight of your past without receiving the freedom I am about to offer. It would break my heart to bring you this far only to watch you walk back into the shadows alone. Stay with me. Before you can enter the presence of a king, you must be properly dressed. The arrival of the King of all kings is imminent. So we must look together, without pretense, at the spiritual garments you are wearing. What are you clothed in at this very moment? Are you wrapped in the filthy rags of self-righteousness? This is a garment you have woven yourself, from the threads of your own good deeds. It is the I'm not so bad outfit, the I volunteer at the shelter shirt, the at least I'm not like them trousers. To your own eyes, and perhaps to the eyes of the world, it may look respectable. But in the pure, brilliant light of my holiness, it is stained, tattered, and completely insufficient. It cannot cover your sin. It cannot make you worthy to stand before me. Or perhaps you are wearing a different garment entirely, a heavy, dark cloak of shame and condemnation. This cloak is woven from the fibers of your past mistakes, your secret failures, your deepest regrets. You pull it tightly around yourself, believing it is the only thing you deserve to wear. Its weight makes it difficult to even lift your head. You hide in the shadows, convinced that you are too dirty, too broken to ever be accepted by me. The accuser of your soul loves to see you in this garment, for as long as you are wearing it, you will never run into my open arms to receive the grace and forgiveness I am holding out to you. It is a prison of your own choosing, and I am here tonight with the key. Maybe you wear a coat of many colors, a garment of compromise. You try to please everyone. You have a color you wear for your worldly friends, to show that you are modern and accepting. You have another, more pious color that you put on for Sunday morning or when you are around other believers. You are a chameleon, trying to blend in everywhere, but the truth is, you belong nowhere. The constant effort of changing your clothes to match your surroundings has left your soul exhausted. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot wear the world's uniform and the robes of my kingdom at the same time. My child, I offer you a new garment tonight. I am holding it out to you. It is a robe of pure, dazzling white. It is not something you can earn or weave for yourself. It's cost with the very life of my Son, and it was washed clean in his blood. To receive it, you must first be willing to take off what you are wearing. You must let the rags of self-righteousness, the cloak of shame, and the coat of compromise fall to the floor. You must stand before me, naked and unashamed, ready to be clothed in a righteousness that is not your own. My child, for so long your ears have been filled with noise, a constant barrage of voices all competing for your attention, all promising you a version of the truth. You live in a world that screams for your allegiance every second of the day. You have listened to the voices of the crowd on social media, letting their ever-changing opinions shape your sense of self-worth. You have taken counsel from the faithless, from those who build their lives on the shifting sands of human wisdom, and tell you that you are foolish for believing in me. The voice of temptation has come to you, not as a monstrous roar, but as a sweet, reasonable whisper, promising freedom while cleverly weaving the chains of bondage tighter around your soul. You have listened to the shouts of advertisers telling you what you must have to be happy, and the cynical whispers of the news telling you what you must fear to be safe. Even the voice of your own flawed reasoning, your own intellect that you hold so dear, has been elevated above my simple, unchanging word. You have analyzed, rationalized, and reasoned your way out of the profound, childlike trust I have asked of you. Each of these voices made you a promise. The world promised you success if you would just compromise your integrity. The crowd promised you belonging if you would just conform to its image. The flesh promised you pleasure if you would just indulge its momentary cravings. The enemy promised you power if you would just doubt my goodness. And you have listened. You have tuned your heart to these frequencies, and it has left you anxious, confused, and spiritually adrift, like a person trying to navigate by listening to 1,000 different maps at once. But my voice hath been there all along. It is not the loudest voice, my child. It is the truest. It is the still, small voice that speaks to you in the quiet moments, the one you have so often ignored. It is the voice that speaks of forgiveness when the world speaks of condemnation, of hope when the world speaks of despair, of eternal life when the world speaks only of the now. Tonight, I am calling you to do something radical. You must silence all other frequencies. You must intentionally turn the dial of your soul away from the static of the world, the flesh, and the devil. You must tune your spirit to hear only one voice, mine. This requires a deliberate act of your will. My sheep know my voice, and I call them by name. Listen. Can you hear it underneath all the other noise? I am calling you now, not with a shout of condemnation, but with a whisper of intimate love. I am calling you by name. I am calling you back to reality, back to truth, back to the safety of my presence. Let all other voices fade into the nothingness from which they came, and in the silence, let my word be the only sound that fills your heart and mind. This is the only voice that can lead you home. In the very center of your heart, my beloved, there is a room. You know the one I speak of. It is a chamber you have kept locked and barred your entire life, even from me. You have given me access to the other parts of your life. The living room where you entertain guests, the office where you are productive, even the bedroom of your private thoughts. But this one room remains closed. It is where you store the things you cannot bear to look at. It is where you keep your deepest fears, the terror of being abandoned or the dread of not being good enough. It is where you hide your most painful wounds, the betrayals that shattered your trust, the words spoken over you that you have never been able to forget. And in the darkest corner of that room, you have kept your most cherished sins, the secret habits and compromises that you are convinced you cannot live without, the ones you would be mortified for anyone else to see. You have lived with this locked door for so long that you have come to believe it is for your own protection. You have believed that if you keep it all hidden, if you never speak of it, if you never let the light touch it, then it will have no power over you. But the exact opposite is true. That secret room has become the source of the anxiety that plagues your days and the restlessness that haunts your nights. The darkness inside does not stay contained. It seeps out under the door, poisoning the very atmosphere of your soul. It is the root of your insecurities, the source of your irrational anger, the reason you cannot fully trust me or anyone else. You have been a prisoner in your own house, held captive by a room you refuse to open. And so, my child, I have come to you tonight, and I am standing at that very door. Listen, I am knocking. Feel the gentle but firm vibration of my presence, calling to you from the other side. I will not force my way in. I will not kick down the door. I honor the free will I gave you too much for that. I am here as your healer, your liberator, but I require your permission to enter. Tonight you must give me the key. You must make the conscious, deliberate choice to turn the lock, to unbolt the bar, and to grant me full access to that hidden place. I am not afraid of what is inside. I already know everything that is in there, and my love for you has not faltered for a second. Only my light can disinfect the wounds. Only my truth can banish the fears. Only my forgiveness can break the chains of your cherished sins and make you truly, completely whole. Open the door, my beloved. Let me in. My child, we must speak of what approaches, for to love you is to tell you the whole truth. What is coming is a perfect and righteous judgment. This is not a word the world likes to hear. You have been taught to shy away from it, to believe in a God who is only gentle and never just. But a universe without ultimate justice is a universe of chaos and despair. You yourself cry out for justice every day. When you see an innocent child suffer, when you hear of the corrupt thriving, when you feel the sting of a deep betrayal, a cry for justice rises from your soul. That cry is a reflection of my own character. I am a God of perfect holiness and order, and my justice is the ultimate answer to that cry. It is not blind and arbitrary like the justice of man. It sees everything. It sees every hidden motive, every secret act of cruelty, every silent tear of the oppressed, and every quiet act of love. The scales that will be used are perfectly balanced with truth and righteousness. They cannot be tipped by wealth, or status, or smooth words. Every life will be weighed. For those who have lived in rebellion against me, who have rejected my Son and my offer of mercy, justice must be served. This is not my desire, but it is the righteous law of the universe that I myself have established. The wage of sin is death, an eternal separation from me, who am the source of all life, love and light. To choose a life without me is to choose an eternity without me. This is the terrible, unavoidable consequence, and my own holiness demands that it be so. I cannot be a just God and simply pretend that sin does not matter. But you must listen to this next part with all your heart. My justice is not only about condemnation. For all who take refuge in my Son, Jesus, my justice has already been satisfied. On the cross, all the righteous anger I have for all the sin of all humanity, past, present, and future, was poured out upon him. He stood in your place. He took your punishment. He satisfied the demands of my perfect justice completely and forever. Therefore, tonight, you are faced with a choice. It is the most important choice of your existence. You will face my unwavering justice. That is not in question. The only question is how you will face it. Will you stand before that perfect, holy judgment alone, covered only by your own tattered efforts at being good? Or will you stand before it under the perfect, complete, protective covering of my Son's sacrifice. The choice is yours. Even as we speak of an unwavering justice, you must understand that what is rushing toward you is also a tidal wave of overwhelming mercy. Justice is what you have earned. Mercy is the gift you have not. Justice is the straight line of my holiness. Mercy is the boundless ocean of my love. And for all who will receive it, my mercy triumphs over judgment. This mercy is not a new idea, a last-minute plan I devised. It is the story I have been writing since the very beginning. It is the mercy that saw you in your sin, lost and without hope, and made a way for your salvation when there was no way. It is the mercy that did not wait for you to clean yourself up, but came down into the mess of your life to rescue you. It is the mercy that clothed itself in human flesh and walked among you, touching the untouchable and loving the unlovable. My child, you cannot possibly comprehend the patience I have shown you. Think of the thousands of times you have turned your back on me, prioritized your own will, and ignored the gentle whispers of my spirit. Yet, every morning, I have given you a new day. Every breath you have taken has been a gift from my hand. This is my mercy. It has borne with your rebellion with a patience that would exhaust any human being. It has continued to pursue you, to call you, to draw you with cords of kindness, even when you have run in the opposite direction. This final call you are hearing tonight is not the last gasp of a frustrated deity. It is the crest of that tidal wave of mercy, reaching its final, urgent plea at the very door of your heart. I am begging you, do not mistake my patience for permission. Do not mistake my long-suffering for weakness or apathy. The door of grace has been open for a long time, but it will not remain open forever. A day is coming when the time for mercy will be over, and only justice will remain. This is that moment. This is the final opportunity to abandon your own efforts and fall, helpless and hopeful, into the ocean of my grace. I am not asking you to earn it. I am not asking you to deserve it. I am simply asking you to receive it. Open the floodgates of your heart. Let go of your pride and your fear. Surrender to the overwhelming, life-changing, soul-saving power of my mercy before the door closes and the tide recedes for the last time. This wave of overwhelming mercy is poised to wash over your soul. Can you truly hear of such a gift and then turn away, leaving it unopened? Do not grieve my spirit by being content to know of my mercy without learning how you are to be clothed in it. The most crucial part of our conversation is next. What is coming for you, my beloved, is a fire. Do not be afraid of this fire. It is not sent to destroy you, but to test the quality of your faith, to reveal what is real and what is imitation. All your life you have been building a structure, the structure of your belief. And now, the time has come to see what materials you have used. Was your faith built upon the solid, unchanging rock of my word? Or was it built upon the sinking sand of your own emotions and experiences, rising and falling with your moods and circumstances? Was your faith a matter of convenience, a get-out-of-hell-free card you kept in your wallet for emergencies? Or was it the very foundation of your life, the compass that guided every decision, every relationship, every thought? The fire of my presence will test your work, and all that is temporary, all that is man-made, all that was done for show, will be consumed in an instant. The wood, hay, and stubble will vanish in a puff of smoke. What does this look like in your life? The wood is the religious activity you did to be seen by others. The hay is the emotional high you chased from one spiritual event to the next, a faith that had no roots. The stubble is the knowledge you had in your head that never made its way down into your heart and out through your hands. These things cannot survive the refining fire of my holiness. They will be burned away, and you will be saved, but as one escaping through the flames, with nothing to show for your life. but what is built with gold, silver, and precious stones that will remain. It will be purified by the fire, shining all the brighter for it. And what are these precious materials? The gold is the love you showed when no one was watching. The silver is the integrity you maintained when it was costly. The precious stones are the moments you trusted me in the darkness, the secret acts of kindness, the prayers offered with a sincere heart, the tears of repentance shed in private. These are the things with eternal value. These are the works done in me and for me. Tonight, the genuineness of your belief will be revealed. This is a moment for sober self-examination. Look at the structure of your life. What have you been building with? It is not too late to cast aside the worthless materials and to begin building with that which will last for all eternity. My child, you must understand that my love is not only a comforting embrace, it is also the sharp, clean precision of a surgeon's scalpel. There are growths in your life that you have become accustomed to, things that are so entangled with your heart that you mistake them for a part of you. But they are growths of death, not life. And in my love, I must call you to the painful but life-giving surgery of severing these unholy ties. I see the relationships that drain the spiritual life from you, that toxic friendship that thrives on gossip and negativity, leaving you feeling emptier after every conversation, that connection to a past lover that you keep alive in the secret corners of your mind, a tie that prevents you from fully embracing the future I have for you. Even the unhealthy dependence on your family's approval, allowing their opinions to matter more than mine, has become an idol that stands between us. You have allowed yourself to be yoked to people and influences that are pulling you in the opposite direction of your divine destiny, and the strain is tearing your soul apart. I know this is a hard word. It hurts to cut things away. You fear the loneliness, the emptiness, the confrontation that will follow. But you must hear me. The pain of the cut is swift and leads to healing, while the pain of leaving the sickness in place is a slow, chronic, spiritual death. Think of a gardener who loves his vine. He walks through the vineyard and sees a branch that is diseased, a branch that is draining life from the rest of the plant. With a heavy heart but a clear purpose, he takes his pruning shears and cuts it away. He does this not because he hates the branch, but because he loves the vine and wants it to bear much fruit. I am that gardener, and you are my precious vine. I see the dead branches, the unhealthy attachments that are preventing you from flourishing. Tonight, I am placing the pruning shears in your hand, but I will guide your grip. You cannot serve two masters. You have been trying to live with one foot in my kingdom and one foot in the world, and it has left you perpetually off balance. My call is a call to undivided devotion. The allegiances you have made to worldly systems, to ungodly ideologies, to people who mock your faith, these must be renounced. I am a jealous God, not with the petty jealousy of a human, but with the holy jealousy of a bridegroom who will not share his bride with another. The throne of your heart is made for one, and you have been trying to crowd it with idols. Tonight you must choose. Who will you serve? You must release the relationships that pull you down. You must surrender the habits and addictions that have held you in bondage. You must place every loyalty at my feet and declare that I, and I alone, am your Lord. This is the painful, necessary, and liberating choice you must make now. My child, just as I have called you to sever the ties that bring death, I now command you to sow the seeds that bring eternal life. If your heart burns to see this final call reach other lost souls, know that this is my spirit prompting you to act. Your gift is a seed of light sown into the world's encroaching darkness, a measure of oil that keeps this lamp burning through the final night. I declare over you now, give, and it will be given to you, not in some distant future, but pressed down, shaken together, and running over into your life for your obedience in this urgent hour. This is your divine appointment to fund the final harvest. Look now for the ways I have provided. Super thanks, membership, or the link below, and become a lifeline for those who have not yet heard my call. My beloved, for your entire life, you have been living as though you are in a stage play. You see the other actors, you see the painted backdrops and the props, and you believe that is the extent of reality. You have reacted to the drama on stage, the conflicts and the triumphs, thinking it is the whole story. But tonight, I am pulling back the heavy velvet curtain. I am showing you the vast, unseen reality that exists backstage, a reality that is more real than the stage itself. What you are seeing is the spiritual realm, the war that has been raging for your soul since the moment you were conceived. This is not a metaphor. It is the fundamental truth of your existence. You must awaken to it, for to remain ignorant is to remain a casualty. The things you have dismissed as mere coincidence or bad luck have been skirmishes in this cosmic conflict. That sudden, overwhelming wave of despair that came out of nowhere. That was a targeted assault from the enemy of your soul. The chance encounter with a stranger whose kind word was the exact thing you needed to hear. That was a dispatch from me, an angel sent to minister to you in your moment of need. The recurring temptation that seems to know your precise weakness, the inexplicable arguments that erupt in your family, the thoughts of worthlessness that plague your mind, these are not random. These are the flaming arrows of the evil one. But likewise, the sudden peace that calms your anxious heart, the surge of strength that gets you through an impossible day, the deep, resonant truth you feel when you hear my word. This is the power of my Holy Spirit, your divine advocate and comforter, at work within you. I am not telling you this to frighten you. I am telling you this to awaken you and to empower you. You are not a helpless pawn in this battle. Because of my Son, Jesus, you are a victor. You carry an authority that makes the demonic forces tremble. The power that is unleashed when you pray in faith can shift atmospheres and move mountains. You have been fighting a war without knowing you had access to the greatest arsenal in the universe. Tonight, you must see reality for what it is. It is a battle between light and darkness, between my truth and the enemy's lies, between my kingdom and the kingdom of this world. And you are standing in the middle of it. You can no longer afford to be a passive observer. You must consciously and deliberately choose which side of this cosmic conflict you are truly on. You must take up the armor I have provided and stand your ground, for the battle is real, and your eternal destiny depends on it. My child, let us talk about your words. You have treated them as if they are disposable things, like empty shells or fallen leaves, spoken and then scattered by the wind, forgotten forever. But I tell you, not a single word you have ever spoken has been lost. Every word has been a seed. And tonight, the time has come for the final harvest of what you have sown. A permanent record exists, and every idle word, every careless joke, every solemn vow made and then broken, hath been recorded. Let us look at the fields you have planted. There is a field sown with the seeds of gossip, where your casual words about another person, spoken without knowing the full story, grew into weeds that choked their reputation. There is another field planted with the sharp stones of sarcasm, where your jokes were actually daggers of judgment that wounded a sensitive heart. There is a vast field of deceit, cultivated with the little white lies you told to save face, the exaggerations you used to make yourself look better, and the deliberate omissions that twisted the truth to your own advantage. And then there is the barren field, the field of silence. This field is perhaps the most tragic of all. It is where the I love you felt but left unsaid was meant to grow. It is where the words of encouragement you failed to speak could have become a mighty tree of hope for someone despairing. It is where the truth you should have shared about me was left as a seed in your pocket, while a soul starved for the bread of life. Your words have had the power of life and death, and you have often wielded that power carelessly. Even the words you thought were good, the psalms of praise you sang, the prayers you recited, I look at the harvest they produced. Were they offered with a focused and sincere heart, producing a crop of true worship? Or were they offered with a distracted mind, your thoughts a million miles away, producing only a harvest of hollow ritual? My word to you is clear. By your words you will be acquitted, and by your words you will be condemned. The harvest is ready, but there is still a moment, in this final hour, to act. You can look upon the fields of your life, filled with weeds and thorns, and despair. Or you can fall to your knees in the middle of that ruined harvest and speak the final, most important words of all. Let your last harvest be one of confession for the harmful seeds you have sown. Let it be one of sincere repentance. And let it be one of authentic, heartfelt praise to my name, for I am the God of mercy, who can miraculously turn a field of weeds into a garden of grace. My child, there is a great weight you are carrying, a set of heavy chains that you drag with you into every room you enter. You think these chains are binding you to the people who have hurt you, but you must see the truth. The chains you are holding are not on them, they are on you. Unforgiveness is the prison you have built for yourself, and you are both the prisoner and the jailer. You cannot enter my presence. You cannot step into the fullness of my kingdom with a heart that is a clenched fist of bitterness. It is a spiritual impossibility. Tonight, those chains must be shattered, and you are the only one who holds the key. The key is radical forgiveness. To be forgiven, you must release those who have trespassed against you. Bring their faces to your mind now. The one who betrayed your trust. The one who spoke lies about you. The one whose actions left a deep and lasting scar upon your soul. Do not pretend it didn't hurt. Do not minimize the wound. Acknowledging the pain is the first step toward healing. But now you must make a choice that goes against every fiber of your wounded human nature. You must choose to release them. You are probably thinking, but they don't deserve it. They never said they were sorry. They would do it again if they had the chance. And you are right. They probably don't deserve it. But my child, neither did you deserve my forgiveness. While you were still in your sin, my son died for you. My forgiveness of you was not based on your merit. It was based on my mercy. And I require you to give to others the same gift I have so freely given to you. Let me be clear what this means. Forgiveness is not about excusing their sin. It is not about saying, what you did was okay. What they did was not okay. Forgiveness is about releasing them from the debt you feel they owe you. It is about taking them out of the prison of your heart and handing them over to me, their rightful judge. It is about you relinquishing your right to revenge and trusting my perfect justice to handle their account. It is a declaration that you will no longer allow their past sin to poison your present and your future. It is hard. It may be the hardest thing I will ever ask you to do, but it is the only path to your own freedom. So now, in this sacred moment, bring every face, every name, every painful memory before me. One by one, you must lay them at the foot of the cross. You must leave them there forever and choose to walk away, unshackled and free. You have bravely faced the hardest truths of your own heart. To stop now is to see the sickness, but refuse the cure I am holding out to you. My soul yearns to give you not just the commands, but the divine power to fulfill them. Please, do not leave this conversation before I can arm you for the victory that is rightfully yours. My child, we have come to the very heart of the matter, the source of all your striving and all your anxiety. Your own will has been the captain of your ship. You have stood at the helm, your hands gripping the wheel, convinced that you know the best course. but you have been navigating by the wrong stars, the stars of your own ambition, your own comfort, your own understanding, and time again, you have sailed your ship directly into stormy seas. In 1,000 different ways, day after day, your life has been a declaration of my will be done. When you insisted on your own way in a relationship, when you chased a career path without consulting me, when you tried to control the actions of your loved ones, when you worried obsessively about a future you were never meant to manage. In all these moments, you were sitting on the throne of your own life, and that is a throne I did not design you to occupy. The greatest battle you will ever fight is not against any external force. It is not against a difficult boss, a strained relationship, or a financial crisis. The greatest battle of your life is against your own deep-seated desire for control. This is the oldest sin, the one that says, I know better than God. I will be the master of my own destiny. This fierce independence, which the world praises as strength, is your greatest spiritual weakness. It is the very thing that keeps you from experiencing the profound, soul-deep peace that I long to give you. Because true peace is found only in one place, in the complete and total surrender of your plans, your ambitions, your relationships, your finances, your future, your very life, into my hands. It is the great paradox of my kingdom. In giving up control, you find true power. In losing your life for my sake, you truly find it for the first time. The prayer that splits the heavens, the prayer that unlocks my infinite resources on your behalf, is not a prayer for a better plan. It is the simple, terrifying, and liberating prayer that my son prayed in the garden. Not my will, but yours be done. Tonight, you must make the ultimate exchange. You must step down from the captain's chair. You must consciously pry your own white-knuckled fingers off the wheel of your life and place the ship under my command. You must trade your will for mine. Surrender your flawed, limited, and storm-tossed plans for my perfect, eternal, and peace-filled purpose. This is the final and most crucial act of faith. Will you do it? My child, your mind is a magnificent gift I have given you. It can reason, analyze, and seek to understand. But for all its brilliance, it has its limits. And in your journey with me, you have often run up against those limits, leaving you frustrated and full of doubt. Your mind races, trying to fit an infinite God into the small box of your finite comprehension. You have tried to create a formula for my ways, a flowchart for my will, believing that if you could just understand why things happen, then you could finally trust me. You have wrestled with questions that have no easy answers. Why did you allow that pain? Why did that prayer go unanswered? What is the logic of your plan? You have treated faith as an intellectual problem to be solved, rather than a relationship to be lived. And this effort has exhausted you, because I do not ask you to comprehend me. I ask you to trust me. I want you to remember, just for a moment, what it was like to be a very small child. Remember holding your father's or mother's hand to cross a busy street. You did not understand the laws of traffic, the physics of momentum, or the statistical probability of an accident. All you understood was the strength of the hand that held yours. You did not question their route or demand an explanation for their timing. You simply held on, secure in the knowledge that they saw the dangers you could not see, and they would lead you safely to the other side. That, my beloved, is the posture of heart I require from you now. That is childlike trust. It is not a blind leap into foolishness. It is a supremely wise decision to place your trust in one who is all-knowing and all-loving. Letting go of your need for answers is not an act of intellectual suicide. It is an act of profound spiritual worship. It is the moment you finally admit that you are the creature and I am the creator. It is the release from the crushing burden of having to be your own God. You were not designed to carry the weight of the world's mysteries on your shoulders. You were designed to rest in the arms of the one who holds the world in his hands. Tonight, your intellect must bow, not in defeat, but in humble adoration before a wisdom it cannot contain. Surrender your questions. Release your need to understand the why of your past and the how of your future. Simply rest in the knowledge of the who. Rest in the truth that I am good, that I am sovereign, and that I am holding your hand tightly. That is all you need to know to get safely to the other side. My beloved, listen to me carefully. What is coming, and indeed what is already here, requires a strength that you do not possess on your own. The courage that gets you through a difficult workday, the patience that helps you navigate a family disagreement, the willpower you use to stick to a diet. These are all forms of human strength, and they are good, but they are utterly insufficient for the final hour. You cannot face what is to come in your own ability. To even try is to guarantee you will fall. You have felt this, haven't you? That feeling of being spiritually overwhelmed, where your best efforts feel like pushing against a mountain. You have tried to be strong, to be good, to stand firm, and yet you find yourself tired, defeated, and falling back into the very things you swore you would leave behind. This is not a sign of your weakness, but a sign of your humanity. You need a power beyond yourself. And so, I am ready tonight to pour out my Spirit upon you in a fresh and powerful way. This is the anointing for the final stand. This is not a vague, mystical feeling. It is a tangible and real empowerment. Think of a soldier, brave but vulnerable, being handed his armor and his weapon just before the most critical battle of his life. Think of a marathon runner, lungs burning and legs aching, receiving a sudden, supernatural surge of energy for the final mile. This is what I am offering you now. It is the anointing you need to withstand the temptations that have so easily entangled you. It is the divine courage to silence the voice of fear that has paralyzed you. It is the holy strength to stand firm in your faith when the world around you is shaking. This is the power to be an effective witness in these final moments, to let my light shine through you not by your own straining, but by the overflow of my Spirit within you. You do not have to face this night alone. You do not have to rely on your own depleted reserves of strength. In fact, you cannot. You must come to the end of yourself to come to the beginning of me. So, right now, in this moment, I command you to open your heart. This anointing is not something you strive for or earn. It is a gift you simply receive. Cease your striving. Acknowledge your inability. And in that place of humble surrender, simply say, Lord, fill me. Let me pour my Spirit upon you. Let me clothe you in power from on high. Receive the empowerment of the Holy Spirit, for without it, you will surely fail, but with it, you cannot be defeated. My child, there is a voice that has been whispering your name your entire life. It is not my voice. It is the low, hissing voice of the accuser of your soul, the enemy who has made it his mission to convince you of your own worthlessness. It is the voice that replays the reel of your greatest failures in the dead of night. It is the voice that reminds you of every sin, every weakness, every broken promise, every reason you are unworthy of my love. When you take one step forward in faith, he is there to whisper, remember when you failed before. You will fail again. When you feel a moment of my grace, he is there to hiss, you are a fraud. If people knew who you really were, they would be disgusted. He is a relentless prosecutor, and he has been building a case against you since the day you were born. Tonight, I want you to imagine that you are standing in the highest court of the universe. The accuser stands to one side, ready to present his case, and his evidence against you is long. More than that, it is accurate. He has a record of every selfish thought, every unkind word, every compromised action. He is right about your sin. If the case were to be tried on the basis of your own merit, you would be found guilty in an instant. The prosecution's case is airtight. But then, as the accuser prepares to read his list of charges, your advocate steps forward. It is my son, Jesus. He does not argue the case. He does not try to make excuses for your behavior or claim that the evidence is false. He simply turns to me, the righteous judge, and he shows me his hands, scarred by the nails of the cross. He shows me his feet. He shows me the wound in his side. And he says, Father, the penalty hath been paid in full. And I, the judge of all the earth, look upon that perfect sacrifice, and I bring down the gavel, and I declare over you the final, unchangeable verdict, not guilty, justified, redeemed. In that moment, every accusation is silenced forever. Who can bring a charge against those whom I have chosen? It is I who justify. The price has been paid. The debt hath been cancelled. The accuser may continue to whisper his lies, but they no longer have any legal standing. He is a disbarred lawyer, trying to argue a case that has already been closed. My child, you must let this truth sink deeper than any lie you have ever believed. You are not defined by your failures. You are defined by His forgiveness. Tonight, you must stop listening to the silenced voice of the accuser and start resting in the eternal verdict of your loving Father. Rest in the glorious truth that you are redeemed, and the enemy has no legal claim on your soul. After all this talk of judgment, of fire, of severing ties and settling accounts, you might think this final call is an invitation to a funeral. You might feel a sense of dread, of solemn, fearful duty. But my child, you must understand, this is not an invitation to a funeral. It is an invitation to a feast. It is an invitation to a wedding. Your wedding. The final call is the sound of the herald's trumpet announcing that the celebration is about to begin. The great hall of heaven hath been decorated. The table has been prepared and is laden with every good thing you can imagine. The light is brilliant. The music is about to begin, and the groom, my glorious son, is waiting at the door for his bride. And you, my child, are a part of that bride. All of heaven is holding its breath, anticipating the joy of your homecoming. For your entire life, there has been a deep hunger in your soul, an ache that you have tried to satisfy with 1,000 different things. You have tried to fill it with relationships, with success, with possessions, with experiences. But nothing has ever been enough. You have been trying to satisfy an infinite hunger with finite things. You have been nibbling on the scraps that have fallen from the world's table, while all along I have been preparing a magnificent banquet for you. The deepest longings of your heart, the longing for perfect love, for complete acceptance, for eternal significance, for pure, unadulterated joy, can only and will only be filled here, at this feast, in my presence. This is the most important invitation you will ever receive. The world is constantly sending you invitations to its own lesser parties, parties of fleeting pleasure, of empty ambition, of hollow self-indulgence. Do not turn down the eternal celebration for the sake of a temporary distraction. I am not compelling you to come. I am inviting you. I am standing at the door of your heart with the invitation in my hand, and I am asking you to come and celebrate. The time for sorrow and striving is ending. The time for feasting and fellowship is at hand. Tonight you must RSVP. You must respond to this divine invitation not with a maybe, not with a let me think about it, but with the resounding yes of your entire being. Say yes to the feast. Say yes to the groom. Say yes to the eternal celebration that awaits you. The invitation to the wedding feast is now in your hand. Can you imagine the sorrow of the groom if his beloved were to read the invitation, smile, and then walk away from the celebration? We have not yet spoken of the hard realities you must understand to enter. Do not break my heart by abandoning me at the very gates. My child, because I love you with a perfect love, a love that desires your ultimate good above all else, I must speak a hard truth. My heart breaks to even form these words, but I would not be a loving father if I did not warn you of the cliff's edge. I must speak to you about the reality of hell. You must first understand that I did not create this place for humanity. It was prepared for the devil and his angels, for those who made a final, irrevocable choice to rebel against me, the source of all life. But I have given you a free will, the most awesome and terrifying gift in the universe. And with that will, you can choose to reject me. You can choose a life without me. And to choose a life without me is to choose an eternity without me. That is the very definition of hell. Do not think of it primarily as a place of fire, though the anguish is real. Think of it, first and foremost, as a place of absence. It is the final, settled, eternal separation from love. It is a place with no goodness, no light, no peace, no hope, no fellowship, no beauty, no joy. It is the ultimate loneliness, the final end of all that is good, because I am the source of all that is good. For your entire life, you have had the choice every day to walk toward me or to walk away from me. Hell is simply the destination you arrive at when you have consistently chosen to walk away. It is the moment when the door to my presence, a door you refuse to enter, is finally and forever closed at your own request. My heart weeps for those who choose this path. Every soul that chooses this eternal separation is a universe of potential lost, a beloved creation choosing eternal orphanhood. This final call you are hearing tonight is my last, desperate effort to pull you from that brink. It is the cry of a father running after his child who is walking toward a cliff in the dark. I am not speaking these words to manipulate you with fear. I am speaking them to awaken you with truth. The choice between an eternity in my loving presence and an eternity in utter, self-imposed absence is laid before you tonight with stark and simple clarity. Please, my beloved child, do not turn away from me. Choose life. Choose love. Choose me. Now, my child, lift your eyes. For a moment, look away from the hard truth of the separation you have chosen and fix your gaze upon the overwhelming glory of the homecoming I have prepared. For those who answer my call, what is coming is not an ending, but a beginning. It is a reunion beyond your wildest dreams, a joy so pure and potent it will make the deepest happiness you have known on earth feel like a dim and distant memory. You have known the sting of death, the ache of grief, the empty space left behind by a loved one. That pain, which is so real to you now, will be gone forever. I myself will wipe every tear from your eyes. There will be no more death, no more sorrow, no more crying, no more pain, but the old order of things will have passed away. Imagine the deepest sense of peace you have ever felt, perhaps in a quiet moment in nature or in the safety of a loving embrace. Now multiply that peace by eternity. That is but a faint echo of the rest that awaits your soul. This is the homecoming your spirit has been aching for your entire life, even when you did not know it. Every longing for purpose, for belonging, for unconditional love is a homecoming for me. And in my presence, all those longings will find their ultimate, perfect fulfillment. But it is also a reunion with those you have loved and lost in the faith. Think of them now. The parent, the grandparent, the friend, the child who went before you, whose absence has left a hole in your life. You will see them again. And it will not be a fleeting, dreamlike encounter. You will know them, and you will be known. But it will be a fellowship made perfect, with all the past hurts, misunderstandings, and human frailties washed away in the light of my glory. You will finally have the time to say all the things you wished you had said. And above all, you will see my Son, Jesus, face to face. You have known him through my word, through prayer, through the whispers of my Spirit. But then you will see him as he is. You will see the love in his eyes, a love that willingly went to the cross for you. You will understand his grace and his sacrifice in a way your mortal mind cannot currently comprehend. Your heart will finally be home. My child, this is not a fairy tale. This is not a wishful dream. It is the most solid reality in all of existence, and it is waiting for you. So in these final moments, when the shadows of this world seem long and threatening, I command you to fix your eyes not on the temporary darkness, but on the eternal, unshakable, and glorious light of the reunion that awaits. Let this hope be the anchor for your soul, firm and secure, holding you steady through this final hour. As your heart rejoices in the promise of this glorious reunion, I ask you now, will you help me fill the seats at the wedding feast? If you feel a holy fire to ensure this final call echoes to the ends of the earth, that is my direct invitation for you to become my provision. Your support is manna in the wilderness for a starving world, a river of my truth flowing from your heart into the lives of others who are dying of thirst. I say to you, whoever gives even a cup of cold water in my name will by no means lose their reward, and I will count your gift as treasure stored in heaven, multiplying it back to you. The time is short, and many are still wandering far from home. Empower this message to find them now through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link below, and be my partner in the great homecoming. My child, for your entire life, you have been collecting labels. They are the answers you give when someone asks who you are. You are a mother, a father, a son, a daughter. You are an engineer, a teacher, a laborer, an artist. You are identified by your nationality, your political party, your income bracket, your successes, and even your most prominent failures. You have spent years building this identity, curating it, protecting it. It has become the costume you wear on the stage of your life, and you have come to believe the costume is you. But these are temporary labels. They are fleeting roles in a play that is about to end. And what is coming will strip you of every single one of them, until you are left with nothing but the core reality of who you truly are, the soul I have created. Think of it. The job that consumes so much of your energy and provides your sense of purpose. It will be gone. The title on your business card will mean nothing. The money that gives you security, it will be left behind. The family role that has defined you for decades, it will be transformed and reordered in the context of my one, true, eternal family. Your physical appearance, your age, your strength, your weakness, all of it will fade away. This stripping is not a punishment. It is a profound and necessary liberation. You cannot imagine the weight you carry every day, the sheer effort it takes to maintain all these fragile, earthly identities. The pressure to succeed, the fear of failure, the need for approval, the sting of comparison. All of these are tied to the temporary labels you wear. I am calling you to let them go now, in this final hour. Your true identity is not found in what you do, who you know, or what you own. Your true identity is found only in who you are to me. Before you ever earned a title or played a role, you were my beloved. That is your core identity. Your true name, the essence of who I created you to be, is written on the palm of my hand. You are a child of the Most High God. You are a joint heir with Christ Himself. This is the only identity that will survive the transition from this life to the next. The world has spent your entire life telling you who you are. Tonight, you must let go of the world's opinion and embrace mine. Let the costumes fall away. Stop clinging to the temporary labels. Find your rest, your peace, and your unshakable worth in the one identity that can never be taken from you. You are mine. My beloved, if there is one lie, one masterful dissection the enemy has used to lull countless souls into a lost eternity, it is this: you have time. It is not an outright denial of my existence. It is a far more subtle and deadly poison. It is the whisper of later. You have lived your life by its creed. I will get serious about my faith later, when things at work calm down. I will forgive that person who hurt me later, when I feel ready. I will surrender that secret sin later, after I enjoy it one last time. I will answer God's call on my life later, when the kids are grown and I'm more financially secure. My child, later is a mythical country on the map of fools. It is the land where all your best spiritual intentions have gone to die. It is a graveyard of missed opportunities, and its population is staggering. You think you are the master of your own schedule. You look at the calendar and see weeks, months, and years stretching out before you. But you are looking at a phantom. Not one of those moments is guaranteed to you. Your very next breath is not a right, it is a gift of my grace. The harvest of souls is ripe, and the hour of reaping has come. The master of the harvest is standing, sickle in hand. This is not the season for delay. This is not the time for excuses. You remember my words from the scriptures. Do not be like the one who said, "First let me go and bury my father." Do not be like the one who said, "First let me go and say goodbye to my family." These sound like reasonable requests, but they are the siren song of later. They prioritize the temporary duties of this world over the eternal urgency of my kingdom. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. It is not a distant, future event you can plan for in your retirement. It is a present, pressing reality, and it requires your immediate and undivided attention. Tonight is not a suggestion. It is not a casual invitation you can pencil into your calendar for a more convenient date. It is a divine appointment that you cannot reschedule. All of your laters have run out. All of your tomorrows have converged into this one, singular, pivotal moment, now. The time for deliberation is over. The time for weighing your options has passed. The moment of decision is upon you. You cannot put it off until the morning. You cannot wait to feel more prepared. Now is the accepted time. Behold, now is the day of salvation. Your entire eternity hangs on the choice you make in this urgent, holy, and final now. The King is at the city gates, and I am about to give you the final instructions on how to prepare for his arrival. It would grieve me beyond words to see my own child, whom I have worn so lovingly, be found unprepared and filled with regret. Stay with me now, my beloved. Your readiness for this final moment depends on it. Be still. Hush now. Listen past the beating of your own heart. Can you not feel it? There is a tremor in the very fabric of creation, a deep and ancient groaning, not of fear, but of anticipation. The earth itself is longing for the return of its rightful ruler, the one who can heal its brokenness and restore its peace. Can you not hear it? It is very faint, like a sound carrying on the highest winds, but it is there. It is the sound of a trumpet, a single, pure, celestial note that is beginning to grow in volume. The King is on his way. His entourage, a host of heaven so vast it would cause the sun to hide its face in shame, is making its final approach. The time of my hiddenness is coming to an end. The time of my Son's glorious return is at hand. Soon, that sound will not be faint. It will be the only sound in all of creation, a sound so powerful it will silence every other noise and command the attention of every soul that has ever lived. And at that sound, every knee will bow, every knee in heaven, on earth, and under the earth. The proudest tyrant, the most arrogant atheist, the most self-sufficient intellectual, every knee will buckle, and every tongue will confess that Jesus Christ is Lord, to my glory. My child, you must understand this. The bowing is not optional. The confession is not a matter of choice. It will happen. The only choice you have is how you will bow. You can bow now. In this final hour of grace, you can willingly bend your knee in loving adoration and joyful surrender. You can confess with your own lips, from a repentant heart, that He is your Lord, your Savior, your King. This is the bow of a beloved child welcoming their father home. Or you will be forced to bow later. Your knees will buckle not in worship, but in the white-hot terror of finally recognizing a truth you spent your entire life denying. Your tongue will be compelled to confess His Lordship not in praise, but in the agony of utter defeat. The choice is yours, but it is a choice that must be made now. The King is approaching the city gates. The sound of the trumpet is growing louder. Prepare your heart. Make ready. For the King is coming, and His arrival is imminent. Now that you have heard my call, now that your ears are tuned to the sound of the approaching King, your response must be one of vigilant readiness. The time for spiritual slumber is definitively over. I give you now your final command, the only logical posture for a soul standing in this final hour. Watch and pray. These are not passive suggestions. They are active, urgent commands. First, you must watch. Think of a watchman on a city wall in the dead of night. His city is surrounded by a relentless enemy. Can he afford to doze off? Can he allow himself to be distracted by a passing amusement? To do so would mean the destruction of everything he is meant to protect. You, my child, are that watchman. And you must be sober-minded. You cannot be drunk on the cares and pleasures of this world. You must be alert, paying close attention to the state of your own heart and to the signs of the times. Watching means living with a constant sense of holy anticipation, knowing that the moment of arrival could be at any time. And second, you must pray. This is not about reciting a list of your needs, though you are always welcome to bring them to me. Prayer, in this final hour, is about keeping your line of communication with me wide open. It is like a soldier deep in enemy territory who must maintain constant radio contact with his commander. It is your lifeline. You must pray without ceasing. This does not mean you must be on your knees 24 hours a day. It means your heart must remain in a perpetual state of conversation with me. As you go about your duties, your spirit should be turned toward me. You must pray for the strength to endure. You must pray for the wisdom to navigate the deceptions of this age. You must pray for the courage to face what is to come without faltering. Your spiritual alertness in these final moments is paramount. The enemy will try everything in his power to lull you back to sleep, to distract you, to convince you that this urgency is a false alarm. He will use your weariness against you. He will use the seemingly normal routines of your life to make you forget the imminent reality. Watching and praying is your defense. It is how you stay awake. It is how you keep your armor on. It is how you ensure that when the Master finally comes and knocks on the door, He will not find you asleep and unprepared, but awake, alert, and waiting with joyful expectation. Do not fail in this final command. Watch and pray, for the King is at the door. My beloved, now that you understand the reality of what is to come, we must prepare you for it. This is the moment for your consecration. It is a simple word, but it holds the weight of eternity. Consecration is the act of setting something apart, wholly and completely, for a sacred purpose. Imagine a beautiful clay vessel, useful for many things. It could be used to carry water from a common well, or it could be set aside, cleansed and purified, for the exclusive use of the king in his temple. My child, you are that vessel. For too long, you have been used for common purposes, filled with the temporary things of this world. Tonight, in this final hour, you must take yourself off the common shelf of the world and set yourself apart entirely and exclusively for me. This is an act of your will, a choice you must now make. It is the only fitting response to the love and mercy I have shown you. This is not a vague or metaphorical idea. It is a practical and total surrender. Let us do this together, now. First, you must lay your body upon my altar as a living sacrifice. This means that from this moment forward, your body is no longer your own to do with as you please. Your hands will become my hands to serve and to build up. Your feet will become my feet to walk in my paths and to go where I send you. Your eyes will be consecrated to see the good, the pure, and the lovely, and to see others as I see them. Your mouth will be set apart to speak my truth, my encouragement, and my praise, no longer to be used for gossip, deceit, or tearing others down. You are offering me your physical energy, your health, and every action you take. Next, you must dedicate your mind, your will, and your emotions to my purposes. Your mind, which has been a battleground of anxiety and fear, you now surrender to me, asking me to fill it with my truth and guard it with my peace. Your stubborn will, which has fought for control and its own way for so long, you must now lay down, choosing my will above your own in all things. Your emotions, which have tossed you back and forth like a ship in a storm, you now hand over to the stabilizing anchor of my Holy Spirit. Finally, you must offer me the entirety of your timeline. Offer me your past, with all its deep regrets and painful scars. Place it at the foot of the cross and receive my healing and forgiveness. Offer me your present, with all its immediate struggles and pressing concerns. Place it in my capable hands and receive my strength for today. And offer me your future, with all its fears and uncertainties, and trust it to my sovereign plan and receive my unshakable hope. Declare it now, from the depths of your being. I am no longer my own, for I was bought at a price. This is your act of consecration. It is the moment you become a vessel for my glory. My child, do not be foolish. Do not dare to face this final hour unarmed. You are a soldier in a spiritual war, whether you have acknowledged it or not. The enemy is real. His attacks are strategic, and your good intentions are no defense against him. You must put on the full armor that I, your loving commander, have provided for you. This is not optional equipment. It is your only hope of standing firm. So stand now, and let us arm you for the battle that is upon you. First, you must gird your waist with the belt of truth. The enemy's primary weapon is lies, lies about who I am, and lies about who you are. He whispers that I am not good, that you are not loved, that your sin is too great. The belt of truth holds everything else together. It is your unwavering commitment to my unchanging word over and above your feelings with the world's opinions. Next, put on the breastplate of righteousness. This is what guards your heart, your core being. The enemy will attack your heart with accusations, with shame, with the memory of your past sins, trying to wound you with condemnation. This breastplate is not your own righteousness. We have already seen that is nothing but filthy rags. This is the righteousness of my Son, Jesus, given to you as a free gift. When you wear it, the accuser's darts cannot penetrate, for he is faced with the perfect holiness of Christ himself. Then, Chide your feet with the preparation of the gospel of peace. In a world of chaos and uncertainty, this is what gives you a firm footing. It is the inner stability that comes from knowing you are at peace with me through my Son. When the ground of your circumstances is shaking, this is what will keep you from slipping. Now, take up the shield of faith. This is your active defense. Imagine the flaming arrows the evil one fires at you, those sudden, fiery thoughts of doubt, despair, fear, and lust that seem to come out of nowhere. Your shield of faith is your active trust in my promises, and when you hold it up, it extinguishes every single one of those arrows. Next, take the helmet of salvation. The battle is often won or lost in your mind. A helmet protects your thinking. It is the confident assurance of your salvation that guards you from the lie that you could ever be lost to me. Finally, you must take up your only offensive weapon, the sword of the Spirit, which is my word. When the enemy attacks with lies, you do not just defend, you counterattack by speaking my truth out loud. This is how my Son defeated the devil in the wilderness, and it is how you will defeat him too. My child, do not leave this armor in the barracks. Put it on. Consciously, prayerfully, piece by piece. Your victory depends on it. My beloved, I have laid before you the great and weighty realities of eternity. We have spoken of judgment and mercy, of spiritual warfare and consecration. It is vast, it is cosmic, and I know it may feel overwhelming to your heart. You may be thinking, how can I possibly do all this? How can I measure up? How can I be strong enough or good enough? And in that feeling of inadequacy, you have found the beginning of truth. You cannot. But I am here to tell you something that will lift that crushing weight from your shoulders. Your response to all of this, your part in this great and eternal transaction, is breathtakingly, beautifully simple. I do not require a complex theological treatise from you. I do not need a grand, heroic gesture or a long list of promises about your future perfection that you know you cannot keep. All I require, all I am listening for in this final, sacred moment, is the simple, humble, and sincere yes that rises from the depths of your heart. This yes is the most powerful word in the universe, for it is the word that aligns your will with mine. It is the key that unlocks the door you have kept barred for so long. It is the sound for which all of heaven is leaning in to hear. What is this yes? It is the simple agreement with the truth. It is looking at the ledger of your heart and saying, yes, Lord, I'm a sinner. What you say about me is true. It is looking at the cross of my Son and saying, yes, Lord, I need a Savior. I cannot do this on my own. It is looking into his face and saying, yes, Lord, I believe you are the Son of God, that you died for my sins and rose again. And it is looking at your own life, with all its plans and all its broken pieces, and saying, yes, Lord, I surrender all to you. Not my will but yours be done. You see, my child, it is not about your ability. It is about your willingness. It is not about your strength. It is about your surrender. It is the simple acceptance of a child who is lost and finally agrees to be found. It is the simple trust of a drowning person who finally stops flailing and lets the lifeguard save them. All the complexities of theology and all the mysteries of eternity boil down to this one simple, personal choice. Do not overthink it. Do not complicate it. Do not let the enemy convince you that it must be more difficult than this. From the very core of your being, let that one simple, soul-saving word rise to me now. Let it be the cry of your soul. It is all I'm waiting for. As that simple yes of surrender rises from your heart, I want you to feel what is now descending upon you. A peace that the world cannot give and the world cannot take away will now settle over your soul. It is my peace. It is not something you have to work up or strive for. It is a gift I am giving you right now in this moment. You must understand what this peace is. It is not the world's version of peace, which is fragile and depends entirely on your circumstances. The world's peace is the absence of conflict, the feeling of having your bills paid, your health in good order, and your relationships running smoothly. It is a peace that can be shattered in an instant by a phone call, a diagnosis, or an unexpected crisis. But the peace I give you is entirely different. It is a peace that surpasses all understanding. My peace is not the absence of the storm. It is my presence with you in the middle of the storm. It is the supernatural calm that settles in your spirit even when the winds of your circumstances are howling and the waves are crashing over the side of your boat. It is the quiet in your soul when everything around you is screaming chaos. It is the unshakable stability in your spirit when the very ground beneath you is trembling. This divine peace will now stand guard over your heart and your mind. It will be like a holy sentinel, protecting you from the onslaught of anxiety, fear, and worry that has tormented you for so long. When a fearful thought tries to invade your mind, this peace will meet it at the gate and turn it away. When panic tries to grip your heart, this peace will stand firm and block its entry. Receive it now, my child. This is not a concept to be analyzed. It is a reality to be experienced. Take a deep breath. As you exhale, release the tension in your shoulders, the knot in your stomach, the frantic beating of your heart. And as you inhale again, breathe in my peace. Let it fill you. Let it settle every anxious thought. Let it calm every turbulent emotion. In the past, you have sought peace by trying to control your environment, by trying to arrange your life so that nothing could go wrong. And it was an exhausting and fruitless effort. Tonight, you find peace not by controlling your circumstances, but by surrendering to the one who controls all circumstances. Let this divine tranquility anchor you in these final, turbulent moments. I am the Prince of Peace, and I am giving my own peace to you now. Rest in it. You have received my peace, but do not mistake this for the end of our talk. I must now give you my final blessing and the ultimate promise that will carry you through. To leave now would be like a child leaving their father's embrace just before he speaks the most important words of all. Do not wound my heart by missing this last, most intimate impartation. And now, my beloved child, hear this final, foundational promise, the unbreakable vow upon which everything else rests. Let this truth sink down past your ears, past your mind, and into the very marrow of your bones, and let it become the bedrock of your soul from this moment into eternity. You will not face what is coming alone. I have promised in my word, and I vow to you now I will never leave you nor forsake you. This is not a hopeful sentiment. It is a divine, eternal, and unshakable fact. My presence will be your constant companion, your ultimate assurance, your unfailing reality through every moment that lies ahead. You have known the fear of abandonment. You have felt the sting of being left behind, the terror of having to face a crisis alone. That feeling is now banished from your reality forever. Though you walk through the valley of the shadow of death, you will fear no evil, for I am with you. That valley of the shadow for you, it may be the valley of a grim diagnosis. It may be the valley of a heartbreaking loss. It may be the valley of terrifying uncertainty, or the valley of your own physical death. But even there, especially there, in the darkest place you can imagine, I am with you. My rod of protection and my staff of guidance, they will comfort you. I will hold your right hand. Feel the strength and warmth of that grip. It is the hand that holds the universe together, and it is holding you. And I am whispering to your spirit, fear not, I will help you. My presence is not a passive observance from a distance. It is an active, engaged, and powerful help in your time of need. It is my guidance when you do not know the way. It is my strength pouring into you when you feel weak and utterly depleted. It is my comfort surrounding you when your heart is broken. It is my light shining in the darkness when you cannot see the path ahead. This is my ultimate promise to you. More than any blessing, more than any miracle, my presence is your greatest and most glorious inheritance. Cling to this promise. Build your life upon it. And step forward into whatever comes next, not with fear, but with the calm, quiet confidence of a dearly loved child who knows, without a shadow of a doubt, that their Father is right there with them. My child, before the final moment arrives, before the door opens and you step from time into eternity, I ask you to be still. Cease all your inner turmoil. Quiet your soul. Stand before me now, in this holy hush, and receive my blessing. This is not a casual wish of goodwill. This is an impartation of my very essence, a declaration of divine reality over your life that will echo into eternity. Receive it not with your mind, but with your spirit. Open your heart and let these words of life wash over you, sealing all that we have spoken of tonight. May I, the Lord, bless you and keep you. To bless you is my deepest desire. It is to release my favor upon you, to empower you to prosper in all that is good, true, and righteous. It is to cause my life to flow through you, making you fruitful in my kingdom. And to keep you is to place a hedge of divine protection around your soul, to be your constant guardian and your mighty fortress. It is my promise to hold you fast when you are tempted to stumble, to shield you from the attacks of the enemy, and to preserve your spirit blameless until the final day. No one and nothing can snatch you from my hand. May I make my face shine upon you and be gracious to you. Imagine the sun rising after a long, dark, and cold night, its light and warmth flooding the landscape. My face shining upon you is like that, but infinitely more glorious. It is the expression of my absolute delight and favor, a smile from your Creator that dispels all shadows of fear, shame, and unworthiness. And to be gracious to you is to pour out my unmerited, unearned, and unending kindness upon you. It is my empowering presence that gives you the strength to do what you cannot do on your own, the forgiveness you do not deserve, and the help you desperately need in every moment. May I lift up my countenance upon you and give you peace. This is the most intimate gaze of a loving Father. It is not a look of scrutiny or judgment, but the turning of my full, undivided, and affectionate attention toward you. It is my gaze of complete acceptance, a look that says, "You are mine, and I delight in you." The world may overlook you, misunderstand you, or reject you, but my countenance is always turned toward you. And from this gaze of perfect love flows my peace, the deep tranquility and wholeness of soul that surpasses all understanding, the very peace that we have spoken of, which will anchor you for all time. Finally, my beloved, receive this seal. May you be sealed by my Holy Spirit unto the day of redemption, a divine mark of ownership that declares to all the powers of heaven and hell that you belong to me forever. And by this seal, may your name, which I have known from the beginning, be found written, permanently and beautifully, in the Lamb's book of life. This is my blessing. It is my promise. It is your reality, now and forever. Amen. The conversation is finished. The call has been made. I have said all that needs to be said. My heart has been laid bare to you. I have spoken to you of judgment and of a mercy that triumphs over it. I have spoken of the illusions of your world and the reality of mine. I have called you to surrender, to trust, and to receive the armor, the anointing, and the peace I so freely offer. The time for deliberation, for weighing the options, for postponing your decision, is over. The moment of decision is now. Everything in your life, every joy that gave you a fleeting taste of heaven, every sorrow that made you long for it, every right turn and every wrong one, every relationship, every choice, every breath you have ever taken has led you here, to this single, pivotal moment at this threshold. Listen. Listen closely. That sound you hear is not thunder in the distance. It is not the frantic beating of your own anxious heart. It is my hand, knocking on the door of your life. I have been knocking gently for years, in the beauty of a sunset, in the kindness of a stranger, in the unexplainable ache in your own soul. But tonight, the knock is different. It is louder. It is more urgent. It is final. I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come into them, and we will sup together, and they with me. Do you understand the beauty of that promise? I am not promising to make you a servant in my house. I am inviting you to sit at my table, to share a meal with me, not as a subject before a distant king, but as my friend, as my beloved child. This meal is the beginning of an eternal fellowship, an unending intimacy that your soul was created for. Everything now comes down to this one simple action. The door has a handle, but the handle is only on your side. I will not force it. I will not break it down. To do so would violate the very love that brought me here. I am a gentleman. I am a loving father. I await your invitation. All of my power, all of my love, all of my promises, all of heaven's glory waits on the other side of that door, contingent upon your choice. The conversation is over. The knocking has begun. Open to me. Open to me now, and I will come into you, and we will be together for all eternity. My child, the final choice is yours. What is coming is here. My child, now that you have opened the door to me, your very first act of obedient faith can be to help me knock on the doors of others. If your soul now yearns for everyone to hear this final, urgent knock, then I am calling you to be the echo of my voice in the world. Every gift you give becomes a trumpet blast of mercy, a shining lamp placed in a dark window for those still lost in the night. I tell you the truth, as you do for the least of these, those who are spiritually lost and perishing. You do it for me, and I will command a blessing upon your storehouse for your faithfulness. The night is almost over. This is your moment to help gather my harvest before the dawn of eternity. Release your provision now through Super Thanks membership, or the PayPal link in the description, and prove your yes with your immediate response. My child, this sacred silence must be broken by the sound of your surrender. I have given you my final call. Now you must give me your final answer. Go to the space I have provided below and let the heavens record your choice. Declare the most powerful words your soul can utter by writing, "My final answer is yes." This is more than a comment. It is your covenant made this night. Your eternity does not wait for the morning. It echoes in your answer now. Amen. If you believe in me, your Heavenly Father, then like this video and leave a heartfelt amen in the comments. If you want to stay closer to me, then subscribe to this channel.